So, well, how you doing, fellas? Shibbida dip dee dee. We're here. We're here, fellas. We're doing it.
Oh
We're
yeah.
gonna we're gonna fight with the chat. All right. We're gonna have some all-out wars going on. We're talking about all the things you're not supposed to talk about at Thanksgiving. Okay. I have a very special guest today. You may know him from the Oren McIntyre show. Newsfist. I believe this is your first time on the channel. How you doing?
I'm great. Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. I've seen you around the internet. Obviously, this is the first time we've ever actually talked. But yeah, I appreciate the opportunity, man. Thank you so much.
Not a problem. What's your general perception of my content?
It's tardy. I like that dude that you do the live stream with. I can't remember his name.
Oh, Remnant 777. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. As you know, I only do very, very serious political content. It's how I wound up working with Oren McIntyre. Comedy's not really my thing. I prefer to be very. So I guess my biggest criticism of your work,
yes,
would be it's a bit too lighthearted. You're not serious enough for me, mate.
Right. Well, I might take a page out of Oren's book and have you seriously read today. Okay. Boy, oh boy, is it fun to make you read. I don't know what it is. You know how you'll meet there's a kid in high school and everyone picks on him. You're like, that kid's fucking fun to pick on. It's just really fun to make you read. There's something about you. I don't know if it's the voice, the diction. You can it's like 25% British, 75% Australian. You can clean it up. It's that traditional narrator voice, I think is what it is.
I quite like it. I quite like reading. So it's not. I don't know, man. It's,
Nerd.
I'm happy to do it. I know some people find it a chore, but I quite like it.
Yeah. So this is the two different styles of me and Fist. Fist says he likes reading, and this is the first thing, that I have to show you. So this is the opposite of reading. Okay. This is something that I'm going to be covering soon. All right. So Rachel Wilson recently debated Not So Erudite. Okay. Now Andrew Wilson, like a master, knows that Not So Erudite only cares about her looks. Okay. Very vapid. She's a Destiny orbiter, Destiny disciple. She got some fake tits put on her. I'm the only one on the internet talking about the fake tits, fellas. Okay. It's lonely out here. And, of course, this pissed off Not So Erudite or Kyla. So Not So Erudite responds. So this isn't... this is only behind a paywall right now. It's going to be public soon. So if it's public by Wednesday, I should be able to have a video up of it by Wednesday. And I'll let you know what that video is going to be about, okay? Of course, Kyla goes... When you have to post AI slop because in reality, I mogged the living fuck out of her, implying that she is attractive. And this woman who is 16 years older than her with 5 kids, isn't very attracted to her. So, this did not go very well. She's bragging about a ratio. Okay, we're acting very immature. Now, Fist, you used to be a goth, okay? You've seen people on speed, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of hefty criticism of Kyla on these two short clips from the event, okay? Look at how twitchy she is.
So in the case of America, I would say booming countries that are succeeding as a result of the labor force being injected with women and basically everyone who wants to work. America is a really good example of how it is working.
That was a lot of movement in 14 seconds.
That was very twitchy. I mean, and the nose fiddling.
Very good.
I don't know.
Also being called out. And so here, a little more, it looks like some of her fingernails are painted. It looks like not all of her fingernails are painted. And on the fingernails that are painted, it looks like they are not fully painted.
First of all, thanks for taking my idea. I'm glad we're vibing over that one. Radical education reformation. We can all just get behind that one. We don't even need to be mad about that.
So she comes off as being on some sort of stimulant, of course, while being unbelievably condescending to Rachel Wilson, as always. And now she's going to be moving around her drinks.
And I'm with you on that one. Okay, so it's very miraculous how Rachel, in
Move
her
some
own
things around.
divine wisdom, in her own
Okay, dude, watch the counting hand. All right, usually put your finger out right now. You're counting 1, 2, 3, 4. Your fingers are going in a row. Watch her try to count on her hand.
lifetime has arrived at a economic and societal structural system that I guess nobody's ever thought of before.
Oh, it's not looking good. That's only less than a minute of footage of her. Okay, I'm gonna have a full 2 hours of that shit.
What is she arguing with Rachel Wilson about?
It's gonna be feminism. It has to be fucking feminism.
Man, like Freud's talking. I'm just why must you punish me so?
Why? I've never done 2 women debating. Okay, the closest I've come is Rachel Wilson talking to Brian Shapiro. But I'm very, careful. I know. I'm very careful about doing 2 women debating. But if one of them is clearly on drugs and the other one is accurately depicting feminism, which is under the umbrella of anti-communism, well, that is very welcomed on my channel. I do have to show Jay Dyer real quick. Oh, I thought I had it right here. There was a Q&A, and God, this is going rough for her. Let me just put this up real quick. So, fellas, in just a moment, we will get on with the regular scheduled program, but I need to show Jay Dyer at the Q&A asking her what book she's read, because she'll do this thing where she'll try to appeal to some sort of obscure knowledge to make her interlocutor. God, yes, I guess just to make you suffer. Oh, the body is a roller.
This is my lot in life, chat.
He's not reading right now, so he feels uncomfortable. He doesn't know what to do with his hands. All right. Well, I'm gonna. Come on. I'm close to finding it. Anyways,
what are you doing? You need me to entertain the crowd? Should I do a little dance? While you know, while you figure it out.
Yeah, mess with it. You don't get to mess with the chat enough. You know.
All right.
Try. Let me give you some experience as a seasoned streamer such as myself. Try throwing a fucking hot take firebomb in the chat and then just walking away from it and see how it goes. Just an absolute firebomb in chat. Got any hot takes?
Gonna have something to do with race mixing, isn't it?
I think that's up to you, man. I'm not gonna.
Oh, I should throw the firebomb.
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't think of anything.
Yeah, it's not easy. It's not easy being really embarrassing and spicy, is it?
About
here we go. I got it.
So
there we go. Saved by the Dyer. Okay.
Being an educated philosophy person, could you name one work by Aristotle and one by Hegel?
Sure. I don't know works by Hegel.
By the way, if I'd have known that's what she was saying, I would have answered. I couldn't understand her because she just talks like with the dry Adderall mouth, and I couldn't understand.
You're like slowing down with your age. It's a little hard to keep up.
No, I'm just
so
like
one
a
from Aristotle
normal
and one from
person
Hegel?
who's not on speed.
So from Aristotle.
Politics by Aristotle. The Phenomenology of Spirit by Hegel.
Okay. And here we go.
Aristotle would be the 5 dialogues.
The 5 dialogues by Aristotle, right?
Yeah, I mean, I guess. I don't know.
No.
No.
No, Jay Dyer goes, that's Plato, and just walks away.
Yeah.
She doesn't know anything. So she'll do this thing where she tries to appeal to like something obscure or like a worker like that. So Jay Dyer was like, okay, something very functional. You should be able to name something by Hegel and name something by fucking Aristotle if you're going to be questioning someone on these obscure works, right?
Uh-huh.
And so he goes, and then so she said the 5 dialogues by Aristotle. He goes, that's Plato, and walked away. And it was really embarrassing for her. Those are the only 3 clips that are out right now, and it's looking really tough for Kyla. And it really is fun to make fun of her. But, fellas, now that we have the Foids out of the room, okay, we're going to be talking about guy stuff, all right?
It's a men's only part of the stream.
We'll be talking about, oh my God, he's here, the miscegenator. I'm sorry I'm late. I don't know what's going on, but I'm on the side of race mixing.
George Droid is in the chat. The Fent reactor.
Oh boy. Okay. So white nationalism versus Christian nationalism. There will be some paganism coming up. Also, Arden Party makes a good point. 166 watching, hit the like button. That is a very fair point. And we should just dive into it. Here we go.
Okay.
Yes.
But this is where we get into some of the distinctions between us. So the way that, to sum it up at the risk of oversimplicity, I would define myself as a Christian nationalist. I would be sympathetic to somebody who's a white nationalist. I wouldn't seek to demonize them. And now, I think there are some white nationalists, like I said earlier, who, if they're not the enemy, they might as well be, with friends like these, who needs enemies. But it's not.
So Joel Webbin does pick up on something here. There's some pro-whites that are fucking retarded. Okay.
Yeah.
And it looks real shitty for a lot of pro-whites. Okay. So he's seen some stuff. Now, alternatively, there's been some really shitty examples of Christianity. So we have to remember, fellas, as we're going to be mudslinging at each other, there's a good chance when you're slinging mud at pagans or at Christians, they're going to be able to immediately fire back with your fucking group that also has had terrible representation. Okay?
Yeah, that's true. That's
So
true.
Now, as we go deeper, we'll be able to carve out who may or may not deserve more mudslinging, but mud will be slung regardless, okay?
From a place of malice, it's from a place of retardation. They can't help themselves. But there are other white nationalists who I think are mature, benevolent, kind, respectful. And for those guys, I don't want to throw them under the bus unnecessarily. So I'm not a white nationalist, but I'm not going to say, and therefore white nationalists are evil and blah, 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 blah. Right. But when I say I'm a Christian nationalist, I would have a place within my visualized America for Clarence Thomas. Whereas I think, and this is posed as a question, so you're an American nationalist, but you're a white nationalist.
Sure.
Right? And so does Clarence Thomas have to go back?
So if we're talking practically,
The chat's already talking about race mixing.
at best, he would be at the very end of the line, right. And I think, realistically speaking, we need a political era defined by remigration, by deportation, mass deportation.
We need mass
repatriation.
deportation, for sure.
And it's not just getting.
Now, the advantage that your Thomas Rousseau, your Eric Arval has is they get to operate somewhat like dictators. They're not elected to political office. They can see through their political project for decades, right? So it's easy for him to, because he's been doing this for 10 years, Thomas Rousseau, and he doesn't have to run for re-election, right? He's the leader of this group.
Yeah.
And so he gets to see a project through over the course of a decade without, a competition in a democracy, so to speak.
You could just start IQ testing people, right? Like, look, the reason why Clarence Thomas is awesome is because he's got a high IQ and like a proper legal mind. Okay. But he is at the very, very end of the distribution scale, right? Imagine dropping Clarence Thomas into like Compton or some other, right? Like ninja hell, right? He's like, I mean, look, we could just start IQ testing people, right? But then everyone would be like, well, what about like, the whites? Oh, man, I don't know, right? Like, could America even survive if they got rid of all the farm labor at this point? I mean, I've been doing but
this is what I want to, very quickly, what I want to narrow down on is, what are you building when you say this? Because a lot of times people will say things to me and I'm like, I have a YouTube channel with an audience, okay? This would be different if I had a private member association or like it's Patriot Front, like if they have like guidelines like that. But like, what are you, when you say this, do you just mean for entrance into the country, or who we're keeping for not deporting people, or what? That I guess that's what the clarification I want when people bring ideas to the table.
Yeah, I mean, I hate to say it, but I think James Lindsay was right when he was talking about the the version that was envisioned by Mustache Man, right? Where you have different.
Oh, he was right when it came to Mustache Man.
you have different classes of citizens. I don't think, like, look, I get that everyone wants to be a liberal, okay, and no one wants to hurt anyone's feelings, and no, but the fundamental premise behind universal suffrage is that everybody is equal. Because everybody is not equal, this massively collides with reality. Okay, but then if you
Right.
do that, right, how do you stop some kind of technocracy? I mean, look at Fauci, right? He's got a fucking IQ. Do you want him as fucking emperor? So,
Right.
right, like you would have to have some kind of very, very strong moral basis for this, right? Like, I don't know. Look, there's no perfect system, right? At this point, things have degenerated to where we're just talking about, could we have a better system? You know,
Well,
I don't know.
so I said this to white supremacists, white nationalists, whatever I was calling them in like 2017. I'm like, before you do an ethno state, how about you start with an ethno neighborhood, an ethno town?
Yeah.
They're just like, unless it's, you know, it was deeply unserious, terminally online people that thought they were serious, which I still encounter now. But they were like, no, like they didn't want to do it unless it was perfect. And that's why I thought the pro-white thing was a lot for so long, because that's all I was exposed to. But then I saw Eric Arval, and I'm like, oh, he's actually doing it. He's starting local. So the race-first people, I think, are better. Like, organizers are typically not God first. On the left, I don't know how God first they are, but they are really good organizers, okay? And so it seems like Thomas Rousseau is not a Christian, and Eric Arval is what would be known as an interdisciplinary Christian. He's a Neoplatonist Christian, so I don't know how denominational he is. But those are the organizers that we have.
I mean,
That's what it seems like to me. If there's any God first organizers organizing for whites, I would, I think I would know about them at this point.
Well, yeah, there are. They're called churches, and I mean, they're not. I mean, obviously, they're God first rather than race first. But you could make an argument
but did they let
that-
spoons in there?
Right, but okay. The problem with ninjas is not so much the skin color, right? It's because
Right.
they are low
Hard to see in the
impulse
night.
and violent. Okay.
Yes.
Now, you're not. I was going to say you don't get many ninjas in church, right? Like even the black churches, like.
Well, so the Christianity that even Joel Webbin is espousing, okay, naturally draws in vastly majority white people. The difference in this conversation is between 100% white and vast majority mostly white. That's essentially the crux of this conversation. And so, similar with Orthodox Christianity, like even just catechesis, that's typically going to be a white person that is going through that process, right?
Yeah.
Low time preference, right? They have delayed gratification, right? So I feel like that part is left out a lot with a lot of race first people when people talk about Christianity, where it's like the type of Christianity being talked about. And Joel Webbin's going to say later on that he talks about politics 6 days a week and he leaves politics out when he's at church. And so, so a crossroads that we're going to run into is church isn't political and cannot be political. I think we both agree on that, right?
Well, they've certainly tried to make church political, and usually the results are disastrous. If I may go on a little tangent.
Yeah.
Okay.
We have time.
One of the problems that beset the Lutheran Church around the invention of Marxism, okay, this is when like Marx and Bauer were both like young Hegelians, right, was that the Lutheran Church had sort of just become an outgrowth of the Prussian state. So every Lutheran sermon was, you should just do what the state wants you to do, right? Stay in your job, right? You will get your just reward. And this is sort of widely regarded as like one of the abuses that the state can put Christianity through, okay? In that it has like a kind of like a rigid caste system. It like stops social mobility. And you wind up with this sort of like almost Hindu kind of like thing of saying, well, okay, you're poor and downtrodden, but really you should just like stay there. And it was this brittleness of Prussian Lutheranism that enabled the criticism by people like Bauer to actually take off and allowed some of the moves to massively undermine Prussian Lutheranism. So if you have a theocracy, right, like the sort of Byzantium model where you've got like the church and the state and they're both, the two-headed eagle, right?
We will be able to touch upon Joel Webbin's prescribed theocracy later on as well.
You have to. It's going to be very, very hard to balance those two things. Again, I don't think there's like a perfect outcome. I don't think there's like a perfect society. Generally speaking, what I see is when people are like, we're gonna do a heckin' wholesome perfect society, that usually means you're gonna kill millions of people.
Right.
Which I'm not, you know, really on board with. Although
not really. So there's wiggle room.
Well, I mean, look, but how bad is shit getting? Like, right? Like, are we talking complete collapse and civil war, right? Or are we talking sort of like mild civil unrest and everyone's getting their like fifis hurt? Like, how bad? Like, you know what I'm saying, right? The response tends to mirror the situation. Is what I'm getting at.
Right. So, but I don't think during your service, during your liturgy, there should be any politics. Now, this is good to hear coming from a fucking Protestant like Joel Webbin. Can we agree on that? Yeah. Where his service is not political. He talks politics outside. So, but the issue that we're going through is very political. And so the race first people get to be political like 24/7, right? Now that's going to be a lot more local, though. So like that's why I'm trying to. Ultimately, my position is that I understand the whites are whites only and everything. Okay, I think you will to make this sustained over time. And to make it national across the country, you will also need support from non-white people. Ultimately,
yes. Well, and this is the thing. I mean, there are definitely some nons that you could make the argument to and be like, listen, right?
They're in my fucking chat.
Do you want to live in a white society, or do you want to live in South Africa? Right. And
but here's the issue. There's a lot of pro-whites, not the leaders of pro-white movements, but there's a lot of pro-whites online that are like, fuck the blacks, like fuck them. It's hard to support. Like, the moos and the left have messaging that is universal and applies to everyone. But they're lying, right?
Right, of course they're lying, right? Like this is the classic move strategy, is that you espouse universalism while practicing particularism.
A lot of the pro-white rhetoric is, we don't like you, we don't want you, we don't need you. To people that are trying to support you is always going to be where I come in, to be like, I don't know why you need as much support as humanly possible, even from non-white people that you might think are genetically fucked or whatever it is. Okay, that's ultimately what I'm going to come down to.
I mean, see, this is why I can't come down conclusively on either side of this argument, because of exactly shit like this, right? Because I think that your best strategy is to blend race and religion.
Yes,
essentially. Okay, right. I'm not 100% sure how you do that, right? I'm not like, I don't have like 13 points like all like written out, right? I'm gonna it just seems that religion is a good way of, how do I put this delicately, telling who's willing to act white or
yes.
white, like civilizational enough, you know what I mean, right? And so there you can have some crossover.
Well,
because
Joel Webbin talks about how, like, the people that are a threat to him are white leftists, right? So it's not just race, it's the belief system of that person as well.
Yeah, and also, right, you've got to be wary of the whole purity spiraling thing as well, right? In on both angles. Okay, so when we talk Christianity, are we going to start a war between the Orthodox and the Protestants, right? Are we going like are we just going to be right like Corey Muller, right? Just be like only the Lutherans
Shouldn't he lie a little
right,
bit?
and we will wage holy
a little
war.
Lying from that guy would go a long way. A little too honest there.
I mean, I think that would be like very counterproductive, I honestly think like your best bet is probably just to say like, listen, You can't fucking speak the language. You fucking like violently get the fuck out. Like it was like a bar or something. But who are you going to get to actually put this policy into practice with the current political system that you've got?
Well,
like, what are you just going to like write? Dear Moose, would very much like a whiter and more Christian country. Could you stop with the communism? Thanks very much.
Well, that's
And
why
they phone you
parallel
back and be like,
institutions. This is why I compared him to a dictator, because he doesn't have to abide by politics. They get to see this project through without a mandatory election of a new individual. When a Mao, when a Putin is elected, they get to see these they get a lot done because it's them in power for fucking 30, 40 years. Or for Xi Jinping. And so, like, I'm saying it in that regard, but it's, when we do it, it's different. I'm going to keep coming back to that. They're not dictators, right? They are actually listening to the people. A benevolent dictator, so to speak. A leader, I guess, let's say. But they get to operate outside of the political system. Yes, sure.
Yeah, I mean, a king, right? Like, I mean, everyone's like, I mean, Americans particularly, right, are very, very down usually on the idea of monarchy. And, okay, quite frankly, I can see why. But you can have benevolent rulers. It's just been so long since the West had any that everyone's like,
well, it's what you have to do to have power now, right? Which is a feature, not a bug. It's what you have to do to have power. It's very hard to retain your innocence, so to speak, and get power.
Yeah.
Okay, let's continue here. How would you feel about having the what is it? How do you feel? Okay, the Apostles' Creed. Okay, is that pretty across denominations agreed upon? In terms of,
well, there are some differences, notably the filioque. So the
hold on. Let me try to play a little bit of this video first.
Okay, right, yeah, go on.
I love it. I think it's a beautiful providential document.
Talking about the Constitution and criticizing it,
written mostly by Christian men. But for me, I would want to formally adopt the Apostles' Creed or the Nicene Creed as a preamble to the Constitution. I do think that we should have explicitly and unapologetically and formally named the Lord Jesus Christ. And so I do think that now I understand that nobody's doing politics or theology or anything in a vacuum. Everybody is a product of providence and context. And so I understand why our founding fathers assumed certain things that we can no longer.
So like in that regard, having like the Apostles' Creed or the Nicene Creed as a part of the Constitution, do you think that would have broad support across Catholics, JQ Protestants, and Orthodox? If that
I mean, yeah. I mean, I guess I could see that.
Okay.
I mean, you've got the question of the filioque, but I mean, is it really that much of a big deal, right? I mean, I know it was a big deal, right? Like,
right.
Whether
and
the
just
proceedeth from the Father and together with the Father and the Son.
Very quickly, with these denominational arguments, Joel Webben is going to say these are arguments of luxury after we win, right? So he's not
right.
Exactly. It's going to be a luxury to passionately argue about these denominational differences after we've won. So he does have a lot of grace between denominational differences in these conversations.
Take for granted, but I would like to see, the Apostles' Creed adopted formally as a preamble to the Constitution. I would like to, with wisdom and prudence, revisit the latter amendments after the first 10. The rest of the Constitution and the first 10 amendments I'm fine with, but I would simply want to get back to authorial intent. So like the First Amendment as it regards not even just freedom of speech, but freedom of religion. I would look at that and say, well, what's the first word of the First Amendment? Congress. So Congress cannot declare at the national level that we are these United States of the Episcopalian Church, of the Presbyterian or of the Catholic Church.
Which is fair.
I would say no national church, not because I'm afraid of hurting the feelings of Jews or Muslims or Hindus or atheists, but because I think that we are a nation that it has different expressions and denominations of our common Lord. I wouldn't want the Baptists to be kicked out or disparaged. I wouldn't want the Anglicans to be kicked. So I don't think, and I think that that's what the founders were assuming. They were recognizing this is a pan-Protestant nation.
Yes, sir.
Which Anglicans are we talking about here, right?
What are my options?
Right. No, well, look, okay, like, I'm sorry, okay, but I draw the line at women priests, gays at the altar, pride flags outside of the church, and Unitarianism. Okay, like, I'm sorry, right? Okay, right. Like, if there is literally no barrier, like if there is no line drawn, then sooner or later you're gonna have like, oh my god, I've got some footage for tomorrow. That's like some Protestant weirdo doing like the queer trans
love it.
creed. It's just like, dude,
I love it.
like we look. After the 30 Years' War, okay, in Europe, which was the basis of the Treaty of Westphalia, upon which like the modern nation state was founded. Okay, all of the Christians got together and they said, Catholics fine, Protestants fine. There was one other, Anglicans fine, and the Orthodox fine. Okay, but they excluded the Anabaptists, and they excluded the Anabaptists because the Anabaptists had been running around doing a heckin' wholesome communism and all the shit that went down at Munster. So we might have to, I don't know, just be like, listen,
Have a hard line. There has to be a hard line somewhere, is what you're saying.
Yeah, there has to be a hard line somewhere.
Yeah.
But then again, at the same time, right? Like, what do you do with the atheists, right? You don't want to start like converting people at gunpoint, right? That's very anti-Christian. I know I've heard people be like, oh, we're going to convert people at gunpoint. Man, that's not how that shit works. The whole thing is like based on free will and you coming to God, right? Like trying to get someone to come to God by putting a gun in the back of their head isn't going to fucking like help.
Now, in the same way you have an Anglican clarification, Thomas Rousseau makes a really good atheist clarification of big A atheism, the ideology of like hating Christ, rejecting Christ, or the disposition of being atheist. I really liked how he explains that, which is going to come up in a little bit.
And at the time with Maryland, there was a Catholic presence as well. It was a Minority Report, but it was present. And so I think that's what they were concerned about. I don't think they could even conceive of, when writing the First Amendment, we're carving out space for Muslims 250 years later.
Right.
I don't think that was, I think they were saying, no, we don't want a national state-run church of a specific, not creed, but confession that would exploit and disparage other Muslims, other Christians. I think that, so my point is, I think that, you could revisit latter amendments after the first 10, adopt the Apostles' Creed as a formal preamble to the Constitution, and get back to authorial intent with everything, the vast majority that remains, and that would be fine. But then the biggest missing ingredient would still remain. It's not the paper, it's the will. The people and the will. Like, can we, so right now it's funny because it's like, I'm not against the Constitution, but I regularly find myself spurring on our politicians to be willing to, at times, go against the Constitution to save the Constitution.
Can you believe he said that, to go against the Constitution to save the Constitution? How is that possible, says James Lindsay. How could that ever be possible? You can't break a rule to save a rule. Then we have no rules.
I'm just glad that we live in a world, right, where all the people managed to design a system that absolutely foresaw every single possible outcome, even 2 centuries into the future. And so you would never, ever, ever be put in a position, particularly not if you're influenced by a foreign power, deliberately designed to undermine that system. So you might have to break a rule to save a rule, despite the fact that historically that's always, happened. I mean, the Romans literally had a system for that, built in.
Well, dude, that's why they're called amendments, because they're immovable and unchanging. Lewis, married 4 months. Very nice to see Fist back on the channel, since we all thought Friday was his last stream. Oh, I'm so glad that died down. Master Shake, $5. Universal suffrage equals universal suffering. Wow.
Yep.
Wow. Well, even in terms of rhetoric, right? I'm sure Andrew Wilson doesn't want women voting, right? So, but when he says to repeal the 19th, he's like, there's plenty of men that wouldn't be voting either, right? Yeah. He never says he doesn't want women, explicitly women not voting. Now, that is a part of what he's saying, but the way that he positions it is, well, plenty of men wouldn't be voting either if I had it my way. So I guess that's what I'm talking about in terms of more of a universal rhetoric that can reach a larger audience. Facetious E, $5, thank you. I am an... Fist, help me.
LCMS, Lutheran. LCMS is the main body, sort of Lutheran Church. There's been a lot of sort of hoorah about these sort of people like Corey Mailer and Ryan Turnipseed, sort of right, breaking out.
I'm a LCMS Lutheran, and the abuses of the Prussian state church were why many German Lutherans went to America, my ancestors included. Interesting. So they wanted to get the fuck. Okay.
Well, because the Prussian state took over the Lutheran church and made it essentially, as I was saying before, just an organ of the state, right? Like, and they crushed any sort of like real spiritual participation, and it just became like this, this reason why you should obey the state. It became like a complete tool of legitimacy. And then the poor actual Lutherans who wanted to be, actually practice religion were like sidelined, and it all ended very, very badly, because when you divorce religion from God, it becomes very easily discredited, and which is exactly what happened.
Sunday Math, $5. Can you restart the stream? I think I missed the Mudeo-Christian Gladiators. They did just do an episode about Mudeo-Christianity again. Sunday Math, $5. Don't let him she on the Filioque. It was promised to us 3,000 years ago. This reminds me. I've only heard the name, and I don't think I've said the name or read the name. St. John
Chrysostom.
Chrysostom.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that was excruciating to listen to me try and pronounce that, wasn't it? I was getting caught up on it. I was stuck in a loop. Sunday Math, $2. Only Second Baptists are allowed. Is that true, Fist?
Well, no, because the Anabaptism is second baptism. The basic idea behind the Anabaptists was that baptizing children at birth was bad because they didn't have the choice to freely choose. This was very, very important when it was the Catholics versus the Protestants. So you might be born Catholic or Protestant, but want to like switch sides. The problem is if you don't do infant baptism, you leave them open to evil forces. Right. I know a lot of people in the chat are probably, they don't exist. I'm atheist. Yeah, well, you're fucking wrong. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm a baptized Catholic. I just either remembered or learned that about a week ago when I was talking to my mom about religion.
See,
she let me know that.
And nothing bad ever happened to you your entire life.
I don't know, but I mean, I've always somehow jived with Christian ethics like a little extra than other people. I don't know, so maybe something to it,
Yeah. No, my personal opinion is that infant baptism is important just from a technological standpoint. You know what I mean, right? Yeah, functionally, yeah.
Yeah. So bottom line, we can't trust the anal Baptists. Here we go.
Because I know that people who hate the Constitution are weaponizing the Constitution to ensure that it can't be saved. Right. And so you have to know, where are we? What time is it?
Yeah. This has we've been trying to explain this to James Lindsay for about over a year now. Of the people are only we have to follow the rules, and our enemies don't have to follow the rules. Is what he just said in different words.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, and when you look back at the founders, I think.
Well, the enemies. Look, demons don't really follow rules per se. I mean, right? Their whole point is rules are made to be subverted. I mean, I don't know why anyone's surprised by this. Again, to make a purely, I guess, spiritual technology argument for Christianity. Once that shit goes away, everyone's like, wow, why do we have so many demons everywhere? Gee, I don't know. Did you previously have a technology that was specifically designed to keep demons at bay that you then stopped using? Interesting. Please continue, right?
It's important to realize that, we're looking back at them hundreds of years ago. They were looking hundreds of years back themselves on the precedents. And they were looking back at the wars of the Reformation. They were looking back at this terrible time in European history where, principalities were leveled over distinctions, which today we would consider relatively minor. And to them, I suppose, a denominational war between faiths seemed likely possible.
And so in the mind of the pro-white organizer, like Eric Arval and Thomas Rousseau, they do not want ideological disagreement at all whatsoever, right? So I feel like that's why they're so lackadaisical with the belief systems of the whites that come into to their program, because they've seen they're both we can agree that Eric Arval and Thomas Rousseau are students of fucking history, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And so they see that and they're like, yeah, we have to have even with Christ, there would be denominational disagreement. So I guess that's why they're they're revolving it around the race, because that's immovable and material and tangible, I suppose.
Well, is it though? I mean, how?
I eyeball it.
Right. No, precisely. All right. Look, the Catholic Protestant thing used to be like a huge, huge deal. And that's sort of one of the reasons why America was the way it was at its founding, you know, but also because it was large enough that all the different sort of denominations could basically like just pick an area and like not really clash very much, you know.
Right.
This is the one of the things about this sort of stuff. It always like winds up having problems at scale. Look, I would be in favor of some kind of national definition of Christianity that's sort of loose. Okay, so like no women pastors, no gays, no pride flags.
This is what I'm trying to do as well. When I say like right wing, I am trying to just make something like like a starting point, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, excellent.
Christian face,
yes,
but still immense hostility nonetheless.
Yes. So that seemed like a greater issue to them than perhaps, you know, they couldn't imagine what has happened with immigration and demographic decline. So, you know, we need to understand that their intention was not their intention was to keep the nation unified. Their intention was to have domestic tranquility, and they sought to do that by having this sort of limited religious freedom that avoided these sort of internecine conflicts. But at the same time, you know, if you're looking back at their authorial intent, they did not predict the possibility. I mean, some of the first things they did was limit citizenship.
Right.
And at the Constitutional Convention, one of the first things that they agreed on was how soon can we stop importing Africans? You know,
Right.
So they did have the intent to keep the nation culturally homogenous, right? And I think that's very important when you're looking at the Constitution. But it's also important to realize that the Constitution it's a document. It can't defend itself. It is literally just a system. And it is powerful because it is viewed as legitimate, because it has the mutual agreement of so many people that those are the rules we're following. But the Constitution is not the Bible. Mm-hmm. It's not even a manifesto. It's not a life encompassing document on philosophy. It's a list of rules and rules for making those rules.
And rules for particular people at a particular time.
Yes.
The Constitution was brilliant for that time.
Yes.
We now, like, you know, it's, you know, at this point, it's almost cliche, but, you know, the Constitution was written for a moral and religious people. And the problem is that we no longer have those people.
Yes.
And not just because we've been flooded by immigration, but white European people are no longer moral and religious. Like I was saying earlier, the most active, tangible threat to my own children are my white neighbors, unfortunately, who are progressive and liberal and want to indoctrinate children in schools and drag queen story hour and all these different things.
And so I wonder sometimes, are even those whites, for the pro-whites, still technically a part of their tribe?
Yeah,
but they're just lost and misguided. I wonder sometimes.
I mean, this is one of the biggest problems to the race first thing, right? What do you do with all the crazy white people? I mean,
dude, no, not crazy. Like, I don't want to hear a fucking black person talk about Coon, Uncle Tom. Nothing is more race traitor than a fucking white soy boy. I don't want to fucking
I agree. I mean,
like, a black Republican isn't a fucking Uncle Tom, okay? A fucking white person that fucking licks the bare toes of a fucking black guy on the fucking side of the street. I'd say that's a little more of a fucking race traitor. The white person that's fucking putting on shackles going, oh, I know what it feels like to be a slave now. I'm so sorry. Get the fuck out of here. Only white people know what it's like to have fucking race traitors to this fucking degree, dude. I've been holding that one for a while.
Mass baptism, just like just totally going back on my earlier assertion. Right, like, I don't know.
We're spitballing over here.
We're just look, you know, right? Like I don't know, line them all up and like baptize them. I don't. Oh my god, shit's like so fucked up. I mean, I honestly just think like what's actually going to properly happen is you're just going to get self-selection and balkanization. Right, you're going to get people like Webben and all these like other people just go off and form their own communities, and because they
that's
can be
more so
armed,
race first, because I believe. I mean, they have Hispanic wives. I think I'm almost positive his wife is Hispanic, and Dale Partridge's wife is Hispanic, and they hang out with Calvin Robinson. So they are already associating with mixed people in their family.
I like Calvin Robinson. Oh, I'm gonna get my 4chan card revoked now. Oh my god, right? I don't know. I guess like, but again, it's not the like being in London, right? It's not that. Well, okay. The fact that everyone's brown is a little annoying, okay? But if everyone was like brown and behaving in a civilized way and everybody spoke
Like
English,
the 90s.
it wouldn't rub me up as
Early
much.
2000s, you know? There was like 10% blacks and browns.
Yeah.
And they got a little squirrely sometimes, but for the most part, they were assimilating, acclimating. Now they've been heavily encouraged to not assimilate at the same time as well.
Take holy water baptism water cannons at leftist protests. I mean,
Did they try using holy water when they were spraying down black people instead of sicking dogs on them?
that is a cool idea, Master Shay, except a very, very important part of baptism is where you like swear against Satan and all of his works and like say that you'll never like have anything to do with him again. And I don't know how you get
but you can overcompensate for that with some PSI, okay? just turn up the water pressure. That'll force some fucking God into him.
It couldn't hurt, right? Like, look, how's this for an idea, right?
Yeah.
You get one of those like big ass planes, right? They use for like fighting fires. Okay. You fill it full of holy water.
Yeah.
And then next time they have one of those like big Washington like protests, like the pussy hat protests or whatever, you just fly that thing over and be like, and then like watch them all be like, it burns. Ah!
Dude, they've had so much money with USAID on ridiculous things. Can we just try some of these holy tactics?
Holy tactics.
It's gonna be way less money than the dumb shit that both of our countries have fucking spent money on.
I know, right?
But fellas,
they'd say it's a violation of my religious freedom. Oh, the moose would freaking hate that so much. Oh my god.
Thomas Rousseau is in fact not a Christian. So let's hear him speak on that himself.
Existed man in his preferences or innovations. It existed first, I believe, in the mind of the triune God before the foundations of the world were ever laid. Mm-hmm. Nations are good. And we have to see them as good and as belonging to natural categories, but of a divine innovation. And I think that you would agree with that, even though you yourself are not a Christian. You believe in a higher power, right?
Yes.
You're not an atheist.
There is something more to the material world, and
right.
Now, as an atheist, I never understand this, where you just believe that like there's something out there. My mind always says, "Do you really? Do you really believe that there is just like what?" I don't know. I imagine I don't think I've ever been agnostic. When someone's, I guess I very skeptical of people that are like, yeah, I believe something's out there. I'm like, that just sounds like what a fucking.
You don't believe there's anything out there, or you're just not. You do believe there's something out there. You're just not like sure what it is.
No, I don't believe there's anything out. An atheist, a materialist, a dog shit run of the mill. Well, I guess not run of the mill. But yeah, I don't understand. If you think there's something, okay, if you think there's something out there, wouldn't it be the fucking thing that's like thousands of years old? Don't you think it might be that? No, I think there's a brand new thing that's out there that's been around forever. I guess that's what I'm saying. That's what's confusing to me.
I mean, I guess. I mean, belief is English generally as a language really sucks with the mystical.
I'm noticing this more and more that I talk to you and other fellows.
It does not have enough words. Okay, right? Like, so believe. Okay, do you believe in gravity?
Yeah. It's the science, don't you know?
Right, but you don't really. You observe gravity. Right? Like you don't walk out the front of your house, right, in the morning and be like, "Oh, today I am forcing myself to believe in gravity," right? It just is. You see it all around you, right? You see
whether or not
gravity.
Someone believes in it. The concept appears to exist, whether or not someone believes in it.
Bingo.
Yeah,
exactly.
What?
So to people,
I'm spiritually retarded. Okay.
To people such as myself,
Yes.
Right. This is as obvious as
Okay, right.
as gravity is what I'm getting at. Okay. So
Okay.
to say to only use the word believe when it comes to the subtle world, let's say,
Yeah.
is basically selling it short by like a fair margin. That's all I'm getting at.
And everybody, I have no problem saying that I have the coward's position, right? So as an atheist, you can't really attack me on a whole lot. What you can attack me on is that I don't believe in anything. Anyone else, if I criticize a pagan for what they believe in, if I criticize a Christian for what they believe in, what are you going to criticize me back with? That I don't believe in anything, which is the coward's position. Because if you believe in something, then you kind of have to speak on behalf of the thing that you believe in, whether or not we're going to use the word believe right now. So, I mean, as an atheist, this is why I try to make sure that I am reflecting the beliefs of a group as accurately as I can. I'm new to the idea.
Well, let me ask you this, Ardy.
Sure.
Right? If someone is colorblind, do those different colors exist?
If someone is colorblind, so I would say objectively those colors do exist, but there's an element of color that is perception of how someone's eyes see light, but I do believe that those colors do objectively exist.
Right. But you lack the sensory apparatus to perceive them, right?
No, you do.
Right,
my eyes work, all right? I'm not colorblind.
You see what I'm getting at.
Yes.
Right? Like I'm not not everybody not everybody's sensorium is
I know.
You know, that's all I'm getting at.
I'm so retarded. I didn't have empathy for people that wore glasses until I was 25. Anyone that just I'm like, your eyes don't work, you fucking idiot. And then I was like at 25, the empathy part of my brain, which is very slow growing. I was like, oh man, I must have taken a psychedelic. I was like, that must be what it was. I must have taken a psychedelic and I was like, oh man, I can't see shit right now. This is what it's like for people that whoa, it's happening to me. So now I don't like it. Yeah, signals out there, antennas busted. I understand that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, also, understand, fellas, I was calling myself a liberal civic nationalist less than a year ago, okay? Things are moving quickly right now. I like to throw the brakes on when things are moving quickly and try to see through the fog of war, all right?
My faith is, I wasn't raised extremely religious. My parents, it was kind of the process, which I'm sure you're not unfamiliar with, where on the special holidays, you go to church and that's about it.
Wow, look at this. Some Caucasian Asian Orthodox 1991 said pagans are so gay. Pagans, are you going to let them say that in the chat and not defend yourselves?
Nothing against my parents, though, of course.
The pagan Christian war rises. Yeah, I wonder which side the moos are on. Oh, the Christians, right? Mm-hmm.
Oh, shit! Fire from above!
But, that has been, largely where I've been. And people are often defined by the circumstances of their birth. But I have grown my appreciation for the Christian faith. And I do think that there's an immense value to it. And I do think it is an integral part of American history. And what you're saying is very...
Now, you'll notice the difference between Arval is European focused in America. Thomas Rousseau is more so American focused, okay? Also, if you want to join Return to the Land, much larger tent, much larger umbrella, okay? Patriot Front, you're rolling up your sleeves, and he really believes that, like, labor is what connects you and has you trust your fellow man. Acts of service.
He's not.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a very Christian conception, actually.
Oh, definitely. There's a lot of overlap here, definitely.
I can't be mad at that. I mean, just look at that physiognomy. Right, like increasingly as I get older, I'm just relying more and more on physiognomy,
dude. Right?
Because it's so accurate. Like, I have actually found that just relying on physiognomy is actually an excellent way to decide on people. It's like way more accurate than a lot of you just look at someone.
I love calling a moo white in front of fists nowadays. Oh, I love it. He's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, how can you tell? And it's just this fucking beak on a bird. I did that last fucking stream. Let's continue.
compelling because we've had members who have spoken with their family, and I've heard arguments made that, oh well, all of this politics you're doing, all of this trying to uplift the people or stop immigration, or these other things, it's all so worldly. Why do you even care? You're just running out the clock until you can die and go to heaven. And I don't think that's your position.
No.
And I do
running
think
out the clock so you die and go to heaven is the weak, mooish, passive Christianity. We can agree, right? There's not a lot of service and duty in that Christianity, and so
yeah, and I think people focus way too much on the afterlife. Like if your whole life is basically predicated on what's going to happen to you after you die, I think you have missed a significant portion of Christianity. Okay, it is meant to make you a better person in the here and now. I mean, like, look, man, I don't know. I'll work it out with God when I see him, I guess. Right.
Yeah.
I don't know anyone who's died. Right. If you do know someone who's dead, maybe we can get him on the channel and be like,
Well, no, you raise a good point where it's like, and even in terms of like personal development, I've said to people where the only thing that determines your future is your present. And I've seen too many people, at the age of 19 be like, I'm going to be this when I'm 25, and then they're 25, and I'm going to be this when I'm 30. And it's like, you're always thinking ahead, that you're never thinking of the only thing that determines your future is your present, right? And then so I think this is very parallel to what you're saying, where if you're focused on the afterlife, it's like, well, you need to focus like on what you're doing now that's helping humanity.
And also
repairing the world.
What tends to happen is, and look, Severed points this out about Islam, is that it's very, very easy to like wind up with this situation where you've got like this complicated like set of rules that's just, again, same problem with the Constitution. And you can't foresee everything that's going to happen. There's no set of rules that can fully encompass life. Now, the Moos and the Muslims have both tried to like get around this by basically making like a rule for everything. There's a rule when you brush your teeth, and there's a rule when you wipe your ass, and there's
so you would say they're overcomplicating.
It's actually really complicated. No, it fucking isn't at all.
Making it too complicated.
I think it's to stop people from thinking about the principle.
Yes.
Like again, right? The story of Jesus versus the rabbis is that the rabbis have this like massively controlling system that's like rules for like everyone, right? And it's highly biased. If you're a Moo, right? If you're descended from the great families, you've got everything. If you're like a Gentile, you've got nothing. And it's completely devoid of principle. It's just, you just wind up with the dead hand of the law,
Yeah. Oh no. Would you put a brown Christian ahead of an atheist white family member? This always divides the crowd. I'd have to know the person. I mean,
how poorly had this atheist white family member treated me? Would be the question. Like, that would honestly be the question. Okay, if it was,
would they rat on you during COVID, right?
Oh, mate, I would never forgive that. I'm sorry.
Right?
I just like that. That is my. If you're the kind of person who'd sell out a family member over shit like that, you're dead to me. Like, that's no fucking way. Right?
Right.
No snitches.
Sunday Math $5. First Baptist is Vanilla Baptist. Second Baptist is Chocolate Baptist. It's a good.
I don't know
device
what that
to
means.
remember. I'm carrying it forward. That's what
Chocolate
my brain.
Baptist.
Chocolate
Baptist.
Sunday Math $5. This is like RZ's idea of solve Christian disunity by making a national church rather than admit Luther effed up. Aha.
I don't know who RZ is, but
That's evil RD from a parallel universe.
No, look. I've met the trad Lutherans. They're fine people. I'm sorry, right? They're like,
even if they want to kill you.
Well, not the ones that I've met. Okay, right? Maybe Corey does. I don't know, right? But all the trad Lutherans I've met are like fine, upstanding people. And
I'm sorry. RZ is redeemed Zoomer. I assume.
I think there's something. I think there's something to that, right? Like not a national church, but just sort of a like recognition. Okay, these denominations are like inside, those denominations are outside. I don't know what you're going to do with the Mormons though. I mean,
they are, but
like-
they are so nice that it's creepy. They're fucking creepy nice, dude. The Mormons that I've met, which has been a handful, it's like, on one hand, I've experienced some envy to be like, oh, look at how happy they are, and on the other hand, I'm like, be around them for like 5 minutes, and I'm like, you're still keeping up that energy, huh? Isn't that fucking exhausting? There's no possible way you're that fucking happy, okay? Sunday Matt, $5.
I can't recall ever meeting any Mormons. I've only met ex-Mormons, and they're not happy with it, to be perfectly frank.
Yeah, it seems very culty. Sunday Matt, $5. He thinks the spaghetti monster promised us 3,000 years ago is out there. Prove me wrong. Yeah. All right. Yeah. See, I believe in a spaghetti monster. Pastafarianism is my religion. Yeah. See, it's easy to have Actually, can we make a white religion? Can they just do that? They can't because they can't lie. Damn it. This fucking truth is getting in the way. Patches. $10. Thank you. I am a Lutheran. Cool. I am Christ first. Cool. Race second. Cool. Only if I ever have to choose between the two. Perfect. Until then, Christ is king. Nailed it. And I will place the well-being of the white race ahead of others.
Yeah.
Is there a single ounce of fucking fat on that super chat?
No, I
perfectly articulated.
I totally agree. I totally agree with you there.
Right?
Mate, like and like I said, like all the Lutherans I've met are like okay, I've only met the trad Lutherans. I know there are progressive Lutherans, but they're all stand-up people, and I'm not mad at that, man. I'm not gonna like relitigate the freaking Reformation. Like, you know, like at some point you just, I don't know, you gotta like let it go. I guess. I mean, I don't think relitigating the Reformation, but look, the trad Lutherans, they don't have women priests, they don't have gay priests, they don't hang the pride flag outside, they do like a proper liturgy, they believe in the Trinity. Okay, they're all sola scriptura and shit. I mean,
oh wait, the Lutherans are?
Yeah. Well, Protestantism is very sola scriptura, but I think at least the Lutherans.
Oh, so Lutheran is Protestant.
Yes.
Interesting.
Yeah, Lutheran was the original Protestant.
Right.
That's how the Reformation started, when Luther nailed his 24 theses on the door of a church in Wittenberg in, fuck, I can't even remember the date. It was so long ago. It was like the 1500s or something like that, right? Because the Catholic Church had become insanely corrupt at this point, right? Like the Catholic Church was doing shit like, you know what an indulgence is?
Vaguely.
An indulgence was like a Catholic convention at the time where, like, if you sinned, you could just like pay the church.
Oh, yeah.
And they'd like let you off, right? The Catholic Church was running scams like you'd have a relative who died and they'd go to like their, the people who are still alive and be like, your loved one is stuck in purgatory for 100 years, but if you give money to the church, we can maybe like shave that down. Just brutal exploitative shit. Okay, so to say that the reformers did not have a point, and as well, right, at the time as well, the Catholic Church was basically sort of like the Pope was sort of like the emperor of a lot of Europe. It's complicated.
That actually is complicated. Did anybody see Owen Benjamin try to dunk on Jay Dyer by saying that Jay Dyer doesn't agree with sola scriptura because he needs to be told what to think and he can't just read it for himself and figure it out?
I saw Owen Benjamin made a blasphemous icon.
He's going,
fuck you, buddy.
He's trying.
Fuck you all the way.
Well, so this is what will happen with Owen Benjamin. He tried it with Andrew Wilson, where once the debate is set up, then he'll be extra like over the top inflammatory, and then the other person's like, "Oh, well, you're actually like acting crazy. You're attacking my family. You're attacking me personally. You're trying to go over the edge before the debate happens. So yeah, I don't want to talk to you." And then he's like, "Oh, you ran away from the debate." And it's like, well, yeah, because you're being crazy. I don't. You're not a very desirable interlocutor by your behavior before the debate. Is what Owen Benjamin has a tendency to do. That's what it seems like.
Wait, hang on. Yeah, go on.
Kill Bunny's $10. I'm race first, cool, but I'm all for letting Christians run things once this is fixed. Beautiful. Probably with some Caesar-esque clause to hopefully help prevent us from ending up here again, though. Terrific. See how we're all you see how we're all going toward the same place. Fucking awesome. What were you gonna say?
Well, I just wanted to show you. I bet you were, Ardy, weren't you? Poor at standardized testing.
I got a really mediocre SAT score. I think it was like a 1030 out of 1600.
Yeah, I was as well. I was really bad at standardized testing too.
That's wild to hear. Now you're actually surprising people. Nuji, rocket everywhere for $10. I'm Christ first, based. My understanding is my duty to my atheist cousin comes first by ordered levels of principle. But if I was picking for a political post, then I'm picking Christian over an atheist. Discernment, fellas. Okay?
Yeah.
Those are really tough blanket questions to answer, especially when everyone's going to try and judge you based off of that one simple would you rather. So, good discernment, fellas. So let's continue.
It's important that that we realize that the worldly, is also real, is a part of the plan, and regardless,
God made a physical world.
We experience it,
and He liked it.
Yes,
He said, and it is good. So, God is not Gnostic. God cares about.
And so I feel like this is where Fist is very persuasive in terms of religion, because you do focus on reality and making your life materially better. An issue with the evangelism is it very telling stories and parables about these. It can just seem too ethereal and not real enough for a lot of people, which I feel like can drive people toward race first. If that makes sense.
Yeah, and I'm also not really big on divining the intent of God. I mean, this is like a very, very orthodox thing, right? Like God is an unapproachable mystery, okay, right? Like, so don't be thinking, you know what God's thinking, or you know His plan, or any of this kind of
the
like
Protestant
other stuff.
has more of a tendency to read a single passage and revolve an entire ideology around it.
It's more Latin as a language and the languages that descended from it. Okay, so the reason why the East and the West Church sort of like split is because the Romans started using Latin while the Byzantine Church was still using Greek. And because in Greek there's a lot more subtle words for subtle kind of stuff.
The one time I went to a Greek liturgy, that I got a chance to sit with the father, what do you call him?
The priest. Yeah.
And he was making that exact point of the limitation of language and how there's a lot of these concepts, and he has to like consciously in his mind see how to like he can never nail it in English. He only come close. Yeah, essentially what he was saying.
So let me give you an example. I was like struggling with this idea of what you could call like a spiritual technology.
Yeah.
There's like totally a Greek word for it, but I forgot what it is. And so Latin is good for precise stuff. But when it comes to the spiritual, it's very, very, very poor, and it's a lot more cerebral. And I think this is one of the things that led to this sort of, solid. Well, I guess I guess I see it mainly in Protestants, where they're just very, very thinky, right? They're like, oh, this Bible verse and that Bible verse, and you must think and And to me, right, there's like just a whole other layer that they're neglecting. But
this is where the differences come from, right?
Yeah.
And the Apostle Paul says spiritual training is of greater value. It's the highest priority. And then he says bodily training, physical training, is of some value. And I think that a lot of Christians, as they're triaging virtues, priorities, importance, when they see something as more important than the other, a lot of times they'll allocate no importance to the latter. So because eternity is more important than temporal, temporal is therefore of no importance. Because the soul is of greater value than the body therefore is of no importance. But that is not historic Christian doctrine. That is a modern perversion of Christian doctrine that conveniently also seems, in terms of its timing, to sync up with propositional nationhood, liberalism,
pacifying people so they do not resist their dispossession. It's almost as if it's a foreign element which has been imposed upon us in many ways.
And I get some of the white nationalists who are pagan. Right. I vehemently disagree with them, but I don't hate them at all. I want to evangelize them. I want to preach to them the gospel. I want to see them come to Jesus, But one of the things that I'm constantly telling them is because I'm sympathetic to them seeing Christianity and particularly the teachings, the red letter teachings of Christ in the New Testament as a liability to our people in terms of natural categories, the descendants of Europeans. They're like, turn the other cheek, go the extra mile, love your neighbor, the good Samaritan who helps somebody who's outside of his people, and he's the one who's commended. All these teachings, Joel, are they're literally the recipe for the suicide of white people.
Right.
You know, and so I see that, and I'm sympathetic, and so what I'm trying to constantly convey to white nationalist guys who are a little bit more interested in Thor, Odin than they are Jesus, is I'm saying no. It's the Christianity is not the liability. It's the modern liberalization of Christianity that has become the poor.
This is what we try to reinforce all the time in Ardy and Fist, right?
Yeah.
The main concept. Yeah. So Joel Webbin does a very good, like, Protestantism. What is that? Its most popular denomination in the United States, I believe, right?
I think evangelicalism is the most popular technically, and evangelicalism is essentially Christian Zionist Protestantism. And it sort of has to be, because if you look back to the birth of Christian Zionism, they did that thing where they started like changing the meaning of the words of stuff. Okay,
Yeah.
like the Schofield Bible, right? Like, okay, you've got the Bible, but there's all the notes, and no. And
On a very quick side note, did you see that the reason why there's more Holly survivors is because they keep changing the definition of Holly survivor? I'm gonna have to cover it tomorrow, Ardy. Yeah, I'm gonna have to cover it tomorrow.
Because there's money attached.
Unbelievable.
Is why. You get, if you can claim that, you get money from the German state.
And so then it's like indirect, but like you're born to a parent that escaped Poland that could have been close to it. It starts getting fucking crazy.
I bet you any money that's like where the first generational trauma thing came from.
Oh,
the blacks are already using
very astute.
now. I bet you that's where it came from.
Oh, sorry if I diverted you. Remember what you were saying?
No, and could I just point out, right, that like all of these people that are on those Gibbs basically can be like full-time activists. If you think about it, right? Like if they're on Gibbs, they don't really have to work. Okay. They can be like intellectuals or academic. They can be like full-time activists. So you've been essentially funding this Mooish activist class for like ages and ages and ages.
Generations.
Catechized, can take the Lord's Supper, can be a Christian, but also is different. And they were reading the Bible and saw no contradiction.
Right. No, and as somebody who is, I'm not currently a participating member of any organized religion. So, and it's my job as the leader of the organization to represent these various men, right, who are either, and I mean, there's three categories in the organization: either you're some type of Christian, or you are some type of, heathen or pagan, or you're neither, right, and just broadly not religious.
With neither, real quick, does that allow for the agnostic, or does that allow even for the atheist?
So in my experience, atheism, like capital A atheism, is more of and it was kind of an ideology more than it was just a disposition. And the actual ideology you will find of, again, capital A atheism is not really compatible with what we do.
It's not.
Because and I mean, you look at it, it was kind of, I don't want to say a fad, but it was much more trendy.
And much more modern.
Yes. And it wasn't just, I don't believe in God. It was a very kind of wide set of beliefs about the world. And some of those other political stances, it don't really comply. And so there's a lot of agnostics in the organization. Right. I would say the people that look into the organization and even use the term atheist, in their application or anything is maybe 1%. And even in that, there's even smaller of a group where they say, oh, well, maybe I was raised atheist, but now I just don't know. Or maybe I am atheist, but I really like I appreciate Christianity and blah, blah. So you're not really capital A ideologically atheist.
Nobody
almost doesn't.
I love on the right wing that differentiation of atheists, because saying right wing atheist can seem like disconcerting to people, right? Atheists got a very bad reputation, much like pagans do. Very much understood. So I like the differentiation between capital A atheist ideology and an atheist disposition, right?
Yeah, but no one is really 100% an atheist materialist, at least in my experience.
Well, what does it mean if I call myself a materialist to like a general?
Right. Well, everybody has spooky stories. Everyone, right, like that I talked to when I used to be into that kind of like crap, has some kind of, right. This really surprised me. Everyone has one. And the only reason what basically it is because it doesn't fit into their framework. They just abandon it. Yeah. So no one really is like properly materialist atheist. I mean, I don't know, like maybe Sam Harris is, I don't know. But what it really means is that people just push away stuff that they can't explain, and they keep it like in a little box, like outside.
Oh
of
no,
their...
for me it's fear. I am terrified of believing in Christ.
Why? What do you think he's going to do
to submit to something metaphysical? Okay, is what I'm saying. That
right, but
yeah,
it's not it's not Islam, right?
I know. No, I understand that. I don't think there's anything. I'm not saying Christ is scary. I'm saying I'm scared of believing in Christ. Do you understand the distinction there? I'm not afraid of it because it's scary. It's like I'm not afraid of like falling in love with a woman because I think she's gonna kill me, right? It's the submission is what is difficult for me, but it's submission to something that I can't tangibly see and explain. It's a submission to a metaphysical a metaphysic is what's difficult.
I guess that's a very weird way of putting at it. Like, I mean,
my brain tries to think
like,
of things as well as it can. It usually comes out clunky.
I mean, I know, like, you know, Orthodox icons like Jesus is looking all stern and stuff.
Yeah, like, maybe if you give his little mouth a smile, you gotta make him smile. So I'm not so scared of Jesus. Why is Jesus not looking?
Crawl in your window at night and give you a good hiding.
Maybe we can give him like a fun, warm cowboy hat or something like that. Some sort of attire. Some sort of attire that would be welcoming, right? Let's continue.
The atheists kind of had their high water mark in the 90s,
Yes.
right? Like James Lindsay, the new atheist. And you know, at this point, like, the hardest thing about being an atheist is telling your dad you're gay. You know what I mean? So at this point, like, even James Lindsay is like, no, I'm not. I'm agnostic. You know, like, everyone's kind of like retreated from that position because it was so silly.
Yeah, and you know, it's tough when I see now religious infighting does not exist within the organization. We are so unanimous in our common cause, and it's almost frustrating when I see the complete unity that exists within the organization because we're all fighting for the same thing. We're fighting for.
Now the organization is relatively small because of how strict it is to get in there, but he goes for quality over quantity. I'm not saying that Return to the Land doesn't go for quality, but they are a much larger organization with less requirements and required dedication, let's say.
Yeah, but also,
which is good.
But also, Patriot Front is like, I mean, they are literally designed to be scrutinized by the feds. So it's a very, very different sort of like organization, you know. You know, I guess you would call them the white elite. You know?
Well, I mean, but this. So when like Saul Alinsky or when communists talk about like agitation, right? Later on, Thomas Rousseau says that he is an agitator of sorts. But what's right-wing agitation? Not breaking the law. Right-wing agitation is knowing that people will be angry no matter what you're doing. That's their existing. Yeah. That's their agitation.
Right-wing agitation at this point is basically just telling the truth.
Exactly.
Really. Like, because
but it's still technically agitation because of how disadvantageous it is in the position that we're in.
Yeah, and because people get pissed off when you tell the truth, and then sort of, you know, the female coded way of dealing with that is to be like, oh, we need to get rid of those people telling the truth. I mean, you're scaring all the children, you know.
Pagan time, baby.
The same people, and you know, the members of different faiths are the representatives of their convictions. You know, I tell them, it's like, you know, I don't want you to go try to aggressively convert these other guys because that would kind of get in the way of the work you're doing right now. And if you genuinely want them to come over to your side, then be the best representative, right? Be the best you can be, represent your ideas. But then you step out onto, you know, the internet space, and everybody's just, and it's like, oh, well, here's an example of a pagan who has rainbow hair and is a homosexual. Oh, well, here's an example of a Christian who has rainbow hair and a homosexual. It's like, you both have so much more in common with each other than you do these other people. And, you know, there is this broader, you know, virtue that you're touching into, and it is common throughout European civilization for thousands of years. And, you know, I do believe that the Christianity in Europe is European. Now, there are parts of the world that have been Christian for thousands of years. You know, like Ethiopia, I think was one of the first places, if not maybe the first, to be converted.
One of the first.
You know, but I would still say that, you know, that the Ethiopians have had an effect on their Christianity. Now, even the theology can be the same, but certain lived realities of it are distinct because of the place that it is, because of the way that those people live.
Right.
And, you know, I think that we need
climate geography has a huge impact. So I think Europeans were shaped. I would say the big.
Yes, I do agree with Joe Webben here.
Yeah, I mean, look, I agree with Thomas here, right? He's not wrong,
Okay.
right, about the Christian pagan thing, okay?
Yep.
And I mean, okay, I'm not one to like proselytize. I don't know, man. I don't think it's helpful. Orthodox.
Hey, whatever you've been doing has been getting people's feet into liturgy by just being yourself and talking about things and not pushing it on them. So you have been
well,
very effective.
I guess I find like proselytizers like just annoying. Right, like
personally,
take, like,
same
Jehovah's
thing when
Witness.
Joel sometimes will start evangelizing kind of, and I'm like, okay, yeah, we know you want that, we get it.
Like
know?
the Jehovah's
That's
Witnesses are like the worst example, right? Like in my opinion, right, they just drive people away because they're just so hardcore.
They're doing cold calls for Christ.
But he is correct that in taken from like sort of a race or ethics angle, there is a lot less distance between some of the pagans and some of the Christians, except that the pagans usually basically believe that Christianity is a Moorish project, and they're very, very insistent on that because they don't know anything about Christian history, which I guess fair enough. But
right. But then I go, well, then what do you prescribe in place of it? Is what I would ask. Right.
In the place of paganism.
Christianity.
What do you mean?
No. When someone says that Christianity is a Moorish psyop, I go, what do you prescribe in place of it? Because like it's easy to criticize Christianity because it's a large institution, right? And then it's going to be more difficult to criticize whatever they're going to prescribe because it's going to be, I don't know, 1,000th, 1,000,000th of the size of fucking Christianity. Obviously, Christianity has been infiltrated for the same reason the United States has been infiltrated, and paganism hasn't been as infiltrated, let's say, for maybe the same reason why, I don't know, Poland hasn't been as infiltrated. Hold on. The point that I'm making is the larger the institution of power, the more it will be attempted to be infiltrated. There's a lot of smaller countries that's the point that I'm making. There's a lot of smaller countries in Europe that haven't been as infiltrated and they're still very white because it's like, well, yeah, you don't have a lot of power. That's essentially the point that I'm making. Obviously, Christianity would be attempted to be subverted because it's a threat, it gets in the way, and also it's a massive institution of power. So that would make sense that it's been subverted in ways.
My main, I guess, sort of criticism of paganism, at least when I was in it, is that there's no controlling of the passions. And I just think that ends really badly.
Yeah, it's right? Nature and humanism.
Yeah, right? Like, red in tooth and claw and an R.
I'm sorry,
like,
I'm sorry, but isn't paganism is not a it's in the same way there's anti-communism, paganism is just anti-Abrahamism, essentially. Isn't it like not even like necessarily a positive thing? Pagan's just a terrible term at this point. It's extremely nondescriptive because it doesn't really give a it just lets you know what someone's not more than someone is, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and it's also just very, very loose.
Yes.
There's no real like prescriptions behind it.
I'm sorry, describing Moodyism right now?
It is infested with occultism and like all the
magic with a K
bullshit, right?
K magic.
Again, I don't want to like dismiss all the pagans. Okay, I'm sure like some of them are fine, upstanding individuals. I just think they are very, very, very prone to being subverted. And from what I know of the original outbreak of neo-paganism, because all paganism is really neo-paganism, okay? Because there hasn't been actual paganism for ages.
But wasn't there paganism before Christianity, isn't it?
Well, again, how do you define it? Most of the pagans that I know are either sort of like Celtic pagans, like Wicca type people, or Astaru, who are like sort of like Norse pagans. And neither of those religions have really been around for, a really, really long time. They're like new revivified versions.
I'm sorry if I'm for pagans out there. I'm sorry if I'm laughing whenever I hear a fraction of what pagans believe. For me, it's difficult to believe in things that are metaphysical. To hear the things sometimes that pagans believe sounds fucking crazy to me. Okay, it's like it just catches me off guard. So if I'm giggling, it's because it sounds like actual literal magic.
So technically, right, the Romans were pagans, the Greeks were pagans, the Aztecs, the people on Sentinelese Island. Like it's
that went well.
Again, it seems to be defined more as a protest against Christianity,
negative identity.
Because quite a few pagans that I used to know are like very into sort of Hindu crap. Okay, they're not against that. It always seemed to me, well, it was like, to me when I was in it, it was very much like, you know, screw the Christians. But I had a very, very messed up view of Christianity because where I grew up, it was all Judeo-Christianity, right? There was no, it was just completely stripped back and just made no sense. But I don't know, maybe something will come of it. I'm not sure.
Well, so we can agree the terminology of pagan is it's even more broad than Christian. You have an idea of what a Christian believes in, but a pagan, it just seems very.
At least the Germanics do have like more of a sort of cohesive kind of thing. You know, you've got the Poetic Eddas, you've got like the Futhark, you've got like stuff.
Were you a Wiccan?
Yeah.
I think somebody had some sort of comment about your comments on paganism, and he's like, oh, well, he was a Wiccan, and he wasn't a insert goofy magic word that he said something about. So I just wanted to get that clarification there.
No, I was
what
Wiccan.
branch?
I was into Astaru.
Did that work at parties with the ladies?
Actually, you would be surprised. Yeah, it did. Goth chick loved that shit.
Not fucking surprised at all, dude.
Yeah. You'd be all like, oh, I'm very spiritual, baby. Right? It was a really, really good way to, like, you know, get girls get their kid off.
Yeah.
You know, start right, because you know it's natural, bro. Okay?
I mean, for women, it's like horoscopes, but even more mysterious, you know.
But you know what? Like disease, like
lunar
plague
cycle
is also natural. Famine is natural. Ethnic cleansing is natural, right? Brutal revenge is natural. The idea of like nature as a basis for stuff is very, very flexible. That's all.
And this is and Thomas Rousseau does appeal to natural law, which I'll be able to cover in just a moment. I got this $33, Thank you. For the Christians, if saving our country / race demands sinful action, does that change what team you're on? You don't have to be race first, but will you get in the way of those who are? I love that question. I've been telling Fist we have to lie, okay? Too much of this fucking truth stuff is getting in the way. I'm partially kidding, of course. But in terms of doing things, so in terms of organizing with the pro-whites, okay, they are looking at what is going to help the whites first. And I understand their frustration sometimes with the God First fellows of thinking like, well, maybe we shouldn't do that. Now, there's nothing more an organizer wants to hear than, do you think we should do that, when they are having a project as a sense of urgency. So I kind of see what this person's saying.
Yeah. So what sinful action is he talking about? Would be my question.
A sin 1 out of 10. You know,
but what? Like is the way many people define modern socialist Christianity is that protecting your people is a sin. That is not traditional Christianity at all. So like war just war is not a sin. Okay. The death penalty is not a sin. No, defending yourself is not a sin. It's only this like modern, completely cucked version of Christianity.
So I got this. You could leave a chat with more clarification on that, because that actually is
I would appreciate that. I got this. Thank you.
Very cool. Theodore, $10. Thank you so much. Good to see you. Scholastic, i.e. being thinky, started with the Catholics, but the Protestants popularized it and amateurized it. Also, there's about 38 million evangelicals versus 62 million Catholics in the U.S. Okay. Really? I mean, who was a Catholic? Who was I watching? Oh yeah, Hunter Biden and Nick Fuentes are both Catholics. So
yeah, thank you, Theodore. What kind of a Catholic are you?
But But no matter what, you have to put up some sort of numbers. Okay, Theodore, $5. Thank you. Fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. Well, fear of believing in the Lord is the beginning of an entire new arc for Ardy. Okay. New GM, rocking everywhere, $10. Paganism was reintroduced in the U.S. by a social group largely consisting of Moos in the early to mid-1800s. It was packaged with feminism and general occultism. That sounds believable. Intuitively, I'm inclined to believe that, and I could probably do a cursory amount of research to find that.
You should look into what happened in the 1890s. That was a crazy decade where like occultism like became like totally mainstream. Everyone was like summoning shit and doing table tappings and all this kind of like crazy bullshit. And of course, nothing bad happened immediately after that.
Did you ever see the movie The Craft?
Oh god,
with the four,
I think so. Ages ago.
Four girls experimenting in witchcraft. Right. That's what I know about it. Light as a feather, stiff as a board. Light as a feather, stiff as a board. Dogus Riga, $5. Con todo amor. Sinjanto. I know for a fact I nailed the accent perfectly. Thank you for that. Flavius Acadacius, $10. The Cimbri people find this whole stream antiseptic. The Cimbri people? Oh, a little rich for my blood. Delusional Mind, $10. Fist, you should do a stream going over St. John. Come on, Ardy. Come on, Ardy. Come on, Ardy. Chrysostom. His homilies against the moose sometime. Also, please pray for my 4-month-old son, Theodore. His heart surgery is on July 31st. God bless. Oh, fellas, hands that heal in the chat. I don't know a better prayer that I have in the chat.
Delusional Mind. Like, I really hope. I pray for your like son, Theodore. I hope his heart surgery goes well, man. May the Lord protect him.
I'm glad we can help take your mind off of that and think about things that are interesting to you. Very much appreciated. Jam, $10. Saving your nation will never be sinful. Right? It's the concept of sin is very important. And that's not like a legalistic definition, by the way. It's a moral description, right? In terms of what sinful is. New GM, and he rocks everywhere all the time, $5. Is at least one case of blessed lying in the Bible. It was specifically a lie that protected the innocent. Okay, this would lead to a much larger conversation, I believe.
No. Let me just ask you.
Sure.
Ardy. Okay. So COVID-2 comes around.
Fuck, okay? It is. It's gonna happen.
And the moos are going door to door, right?
Yeah.
Searching for people. You haven't had your vaccine, right? You're hiding someone, and the moos come to your door, and you lie, and you're like, I haven't seen that guy. Is that a sin?
Is that a sin? I don't really construct sin that way. I mean, I would lie. I wouldn't think morally. I would just lie to him unabashedly. I wouldn't like think to myself, "Ooh, should I? Am I making a sin right now?" That would not pass through the filter of my mind. So I would just easily lie.
If the devil comes to you and says,
I'm pretty compelled to believe in God. All right? I'm seeing the devil.
Where is your child? Right?
Yeah.
I need to like take and eat him, and you lie. Is that a sin?
Why? If my religion forces me to give up my child, then it's an illegitimate religion. I would say that.
Right. Okay. So you see what I'm getting at, though. Right? Yeah. I'm right. There's. I mean, okay.
I like being cute with analogies. I understand what you're saying.
I would not snitch in that circumstance. Okay, like maybe later I'd go to confession and I'd be like, no. But I just,
Yeah, and at confession you go, you fucking get it though, right?
Yeah. And the priest would probably be like, no, you're forgiven. I mean, no, like I'm not doing that. And I don't think that. I think a lot of the time evil tries to like, you do the Alinsky thing, okay, where you subvert the clear intent of a thing,
yes,
and be like, we know your rules, and no, fuck that.
Well, so to actually go back to I got this's question, I would say that the concern of the Christian is what is to stop you from sinning in the future. Obviously, you can sin for a just cause, but without repentance, what is stopping you from continuing that behavior, right?
Well, if you go to church and get communion, you sin less. That's what the remission of sin means.
To him proselytizing over here. Oh my God, he's evangelizing his faith like Joel Webbin over here.
Shut the fuck up. Right.
See, I was lying. Lies are fun.
There is a distinct difference in the Orthodox Creed, right? Where you ask for the remission of sin, not the forgiveness of sin. I mean, you can get forgiveness, right? But the important part is remission, right? Like a tumor, okay? It gets smaller over time. It's not, the vanishing of sin. You go in one day and you sin no more and you're healed, right? Like it's acknowledged that it's a gradual process, like water wearing on stone.
Yes.
Okay, and you go and you gradually you become a better person. Shit worked for me. I don't know what.
Well, no, but this same gradual nature that you're talking about is what I try to implement on the channel, right? Everyone's very politically excitable right now, right? And the pro-white stuff, we're actually allowed to talk about it. I don't want people. I want them to carefully consider what path they want to take. I don't want to just shove them and say, you should go and do this, you should go and do this. That's why I call this the landing pad. It should be gradual, but I can't make that determination for the individual, right? I can just subject them to conversations like this, and then they feel like they don't want to blow their brains out so much. Andrew Corrigan, $10. Thank you. Oh, my God. Don't really want to get into my beliefs, but one of the core tenets of my faith is that being late is brown, and you, Ardy, have been the pagan to my Christianity. Where's this fucking late shit come from? It's fucking unbelievable. People are unbelievable. Vex, baby, member for 6 months. I'm not politically excitable, and I'll fight anyone who thinks otherwise. Absolutely. Good to see you, Vex. Continuing on. I think we are still at a little bit of pagan.
This thing would be 1,500 years of Christendom. So from Constantine to King Alfred and all the way, common case law and all these different things. So I think the gospel shaped Europeans massively. I also think that climate, geography shaped, right? When every day in terms of the weather and the climate is the same as yesterday and the day before versus living in cold places where you have to have high time versus low time preference. You have to plan ahead, and that culls the population. Your dimwits don't survive the winter. You know what I mean? Like, so that's going to have an effect. Even in America, part of it is interracial marriage. Part of it is Christianization, catechesis. Part of it also, I think, is the brutality and harsh elements of slavery culled African Americans in a way that sub-Saharan Africans that remained there. What I'm saying is that dumb slaves didn't make it. And that's why even in America, Black Americans here are almost a full standard deviation per capita above the IQ of many African nations.
That is unfortunately very true. And our fucking Black Americans are fucking retarded, dude. I had to stop myself from watching videos of Black people on X. I'd stop myself. Because it's a wormhole. It's like they don't know how to drive. Like I'm going through a catalog of them in my head right now, and then I'll see like blacks from Africa come over here, and I'm like, wow, we really did make an improvement just being around white people. Was it a good improvement? Barely. Like he said, it's like a deviation higher. It's the best we can do. Okay, you put billions and trillions of dollars into them, you get a deviation higher. Best we can do for you.
Yeah.
And it's like, how do I account for that? And for me, it's not just a one size fits all. I would say it's probably a combination of 2 or 3 different elements. One is America is a different climate, a different geography than living right next to the equator in Africa, sub-Saharan Africa. 2, because we have been a Christian nation. And so catechesis and spiritual formation. And 3, because of the harsh conditions of slavery and abuses of slavery. I don't think that slavery was inherently immoral. I do believe that the transatlantic slave trade was immoral because it included man-stealing, which the Bible forbids. But with those harsh conditions, the slaves that actually procreated and had descendants were ones that had a little bit more impulse control, who were not quite as rebellious towards their masters, and who were able to make this great voyage, on ships in harsh conditions, and intellect probably played a role in that. And so my point is in terms of if we're talking about characteristics like IQ, and that's only one, but it's a significant one. I think that how do I account for disparities in IQ among different peoples? As a Christian, I'm going to say one, the gospel plays a role in that, because religion speaks to biological effects and genetics, right? Every major world religion has dietary restrictions, who you can marry, somebody who's You can't marry your mom, your sister, but you also can't marry someone who's too distantly related. Capital punishment for capital crimes, right? All over the Old Testament. And his line shall be cut off from Israel. And if anyone does this obscene thing, his line shall be cut off from Israel because of the punishment. He doesn't get to procreate and have posterity. And so through capital punishment, through dietary restrictions, through regulations for marriage, through all these different things, every major, not just Christianity, but Hinduism and Islam and all these things, like Somalia. One of the reasons why the IQ average, just speaking in generalities, is so low in Somalia is because they've been inbreeding for centuries. And that doesn't really help.
No, it doesn't.
It is pretty based that in Christianity, they've always known that you shouldn't fuck your family, even before we had science. That is pretty incredible. Because throughout history, it's happened a lot. It's happened a real lot. And in Christianity, it's like, no, we know you're not supposed to do that.
Well, I think it's a survivorship bias thing. I think this is one of the things that people don't understand about a lot of old school religions. There's survivorship bias. The reason why they're still around is because they create functioning societies. Like letting women rule your civilization is a really, really good example of it. There aren't any enduring civilizations with that kind of setup because they all freaking die out. So,
And let's go on the topic of dignity.
And, I want to keep things as happy as possible. I want to maintain law and order.
Right.
But there's no way I seriously believe you can overhaul the country without stepping on a few toes here and there.
Yeah, no, you're right. Explain real quick, dignity. So it sounds like you're saying everybody has it. Everybody has human dignity, but there would be a sliding scale. I think I know what you mean. And I'd have some respectful pushback, but let me give you a chance to clarify that.
So, and I'm speaking and I'm trying to reach out to the Christian lens of things where, everybody has a soul. I can say that with confidence. And everybody has a right. I believe there are human rights, which extends to, you do not deserve to be tortured. You do not deserve to be punished or killed for something which you didn't do. And being born a certain way is not something which you consciously did. So I think those are fine. Those are accepted and nobody deserves to be punished for those things. However, even if a foreigner was born into my country, right? Your citizenship is a privilege. Your existence here is a privilege. And I believe nature's law, which is the law of nations, the law of homogeneity, the law that distinct people.
Nature's law is also the law.
And so the way he's described natural law is that even bereft of anything that we have, people would get together and build nations and they would all look similar to each other. That is what he is describing as a short form for natural law, just so you know. Yeah.
Yeah, well, he's right. The problem is that nations also fight. This is sort of like one of the reasons why we got the sort of post-World War I.
How much can the pro-white scale is really the question, right?
Yeah.
Can their crypto scale? It's scalable.
I don't know, man, right? Like, I think if you got relatively homogenous stock, it'd probably work out. I don't know, man. I don't know. Yeah.
Of God.
Absolutely. But I do believe that these laws that are larger than us, you don't get away with breaking them, right? The law of God or the law of nature are very different than the laws of man because you can pull one over on man, but God and nature, it's much more difficult, or so I hear. So that the matter is a lot of these people are in violations of natural law, and that's not always their decision. Right. And I think we need to have a realization where we can draw certain distinctions there.
Okay. So I would say in terms of innate dignity,
yes,
human dignity, I would say, and there's two senses in which we're equal, but only two, because I really do think that one of the biggest modern enemies of the West is liberalism, and liberalism has, as if that's the car, the engine of that car is egalitarianism. And so I hate egalitarianism. I hate it as it pertains to.
Now I understand what hate means. You are required to hate things that vow to destroy everything that you love, right?
Yeah.
So now when I say hate, like when I say I hate the left, I'm now using it in a more religious context because it is much more accurate. It actually puts weight behind the word. But when I say I hate it, it's not even necessarily that I'm mad at it. I am required to hate this thing that vows to destroy me. Is how I interpret hate now.
Do you want some answers on the whole whether lying to the devil is Christian or not?
Oh yeah, let's do it.
Okay, hang on. I got a.
Oh, very cool.
Brock, just let me share this.
Yeah.
Okay, so my original question.
Look at that.
is,
First time on the show, and he knows how to just kind of grab the screen like that.
So, the Eastern Orthodox Church fathers generally affirm a form of strategic divine deception of the devil as wise, just, and salvific, while strongly condemning ordinary human lying as originating from the devil. They show more openness than Augustine's absolute prohibition. So Augustine was like, nah, you can't even lie to the devil. However, what's quite interesting is that the early church fathers basically believed that what happened with Jesus was like a scheme to entrap the devil. That that Jesus took on the form of a man in order to entrap the devil, basically knowing that the devil would like kill him and thus bringing justice back. It was not the nature of the opposing power to come in contact with the undiluted presence of God. Therefore, the deity was hidden under the veil of our nature, that so, as with ravenous fish, the hook of the deity might be gulped down along with the bait of flesh, life being introduced into the house of death, which is diametrically opposed to light, and life must vanish. He explicitly calls this a device in which there was deception, justified as repayment in kind. The one who first deceived humanity with the bait of pleasure is now deceived by the human form. Intention distinguishes it, like mixing poison as an antidote versus as murder. It is good, wise, just, and ultimately beneficial, even for the adversary, by destroying evil. So, I don't know, mate.
So sometime, well, the triage, the priority in some situations is overcoming evil at.
Yes.
I guess not at all. Yeah, right.
No, because
Right.
it's about the intent.
Yes.
Someone else in the chat said that it is about the intent. The intent is good. This is what undermines legalism, because legalism by definition doesn't care about intent. Oh, you're carrying your only possession on a Sabbath. You know what? It's very, very bad. Yeah, but I have to get home and tend to my sick child. Well, we don't.
Okay,
really
somebody get the string.
Yeah, exactly.
We'll just line it up on the power lines.
Exactly.
Oh, Lordy.
Black, white. I believe all mankind, the image of God, a vestige remains. It's not utterly lost for any people. But the image of God through sin has been tarnished for all people. And this is a difficult conversation that people don't like. But even within Christian theology, Aquinas argued this, other church fathers argued that for all people, the image of God is tarnished. And for all people, the image of God, a vestige, remains. But in its tarnishing, it has not been equally degraded in all people. And we can look at certain people and say, and not even in a fatalistic racial determinism standpoint, but we can say for this particular people, because of their particular actions and choices over subsequent generations for centuries, the image of God, which still remains intact, has been further degraded. They have defaced the image of God within themselves to a greater degree than another particular people. And I would like to root a lot of that in fidelity to Christ. Mm-hmm. I think that that because of 1,500 years of Christendom, that the image of God, which I believe is actively and presently being defaced by Europeans among their own people, was sustained and upheld and elevated long.
I just want to address something real quick. This intent thing can also lead to communism. You also need a degree of legalism. The communists are lying the entire time. They're lying about their intent. The entire time they're lying about their intent. Their intent is power the entire time, and they're lying.
Yeah, I don't think anyone's arguing that you don't need any law. It's just that law has to be backed by intent. And indeed, before the West was like totally subverted, this was how it worked. It's why you have a jury trial. So that if someone, like, they broke the law, but their intent is good, the jury will be like, no, he did it for a good reason, we're letting him off. This is baked into the original formulation of the West. It's only recently that we have, gotten into just total legalism, if you get what I'm saying.
Well, law is, can be straightforward and simple. The law that we have now is legalism, where I don't know what the laws are in my state. Yes. Do you know what the laws are where you live?
I have no idea.
That's legalism.
Yeah, that's right. Because what happens is when the laws get that complicated, what happens effectively, and especially if they're partially enforced, and if one group has one set of laws while the other does not, it just becomes rife with abuse. So you need a sort of very pared down set of laws that are based on intent, that are an expression of good intent, if that makes sense.
Yes.
And more thoroughly because of being Christian nations for so long, whereas other pagan nations that have never been Christianized, or much more recently Christianized, there could be a further defacing of that image, and yet the vestige of the image of God remains still intact and present in all people. And so that's the way I would articulate dignity. Human dignity is equal in the sight of God. In one given nation should be equal under the law. Outside of that, in temporal categories, some peoples have defaced. So, there, for instance, there's one white family in America that has been inbreeding for generations at this point and can now only communicate in cliques with one another. And I would say the image of God for this white family has been further defaced. Does that mean they're subhuman? No, they're still human. An image, a vestige of the image of God still remains. And yet I would look at them and I would look at George Washington and I say one of these things is not like the other.
Absolutely.
So would you agree with that?
No,
Does that
I would
articulate
say,
your view?
No, I would say that makes sense. And when you're talking about, and as a nationalist, and I believe, you are a Christian nationalist, but a nationalist nonetheless,
that's right.
is we need to be able to view people as groups, right?
Yeah.
We need to be able to understand that these distinctions exist. And, there are concepts of equality. And I do agree that there are those in certain cases. And I even think equality under the law makes a lot of sense and it works really well.
For citizens.
For citizens within a certain scope can it be practiced before things get really impractical. A rich man and a poor man who commit the same crime should both face the same jury, et cetera, et cetera. But, you cannot have a government which refuses basic realities, right? A government that ceases to recognize race is no more practical than a government that ceases to recognize gravity.
Isn't that a banger line?
Yeah, he's right.
Right?
He's right. No, he's 100% right. And this is one of the problems with the way, liberalism has evolved. It's just become anti-reality. All the races are the same, men are the same.
It's a punishment for the liberal host countries. So it's used as a punishment.
I mean, you can say all the shit you want. I mean, you could argue Christianity is like this. Like a lot of the pagans, like and then when you say to them, well, that's not real Christianity. Well, it's not. Sorry, like you can call a man a woman as much as you like. You can get thousands of other people to also affirm that a man is a woman. It doesn't make the man a woman. It's just lies. But and just because everyone goes along with the lie doesn't make it true, if you get what I'm saying.
So when you say that's not real Christianity, can you point to a period in time that you would say was real Christianity?
Yeah, I mean, Orthodoxy, clearly. I think you could point to uncorrupted Catholicism. So this is the point. It always keeps shifting, okay? Because the church is, by definition, a function of men, and men can be corrupted. There's no perfect church on earth. This is the thing, right? Men are fallible, men can be corrupted, therefore. But basically, again, right, the liturgy, communion, no women priests, no gays, confession.
Pretty straightforward. You should write these down, okay?
Yeah, well,
and then call it something short form. These are very direct. But the follow-up question I was going to ask you is, can you give me the period in history that was fucking real liberalism was enacted?
Well, no, not really.
Right.
Because I think it was queered from the start, because real liberalism really started with the admission of the Moors to England after Cromwell. That's when this whole thing kicked off. And this is why we had to have infinite religious pluralism as a start, was to accommodate the Moors after they were admitted back into England and they wanted to be like MPs and the population hated it. But, money, essentially. So, yeah, I think, again, as I was saying, because humans are fallible, you're always going to have this sort of cycle of, Christianity rising and falling. The church is made of men, men are fallible, men can be corrupted. Therefore, you're always going to have this problem sooner or later, eventually. The whole point is that it can renew itself.
Yes.
You get what I'm saying?
Joe Warren's $10. Alexander Schmemann links John 15:13 to defending the innocent against the rapacious out of love, while framing it as tragic necessity. Saving your country will not be a sin, but we need the optics.
Yeah.
Right, look at that fucking picture. Is that unaltered Alex Jones?
So to give you an idea, okay,
Yeah.
traditionally, if you went to war and you killed someone, you would be denied communion for a bit, but you wouldn't be ejected from the church. It was realized that it was a sin, right? You did kill, but it was necessary. So, you know.
Nate Higgers, 801, remember 10 months. Webben is a Calvinist and therefore a heretic. I don't put much stock in the opinions of heretics. What if this heretic is pushing people toward the outcome that you want in society, however? I think that might be a little too pure right there. Because we're going... I mean, dude, it is, sure. But in terms of his rhetoric, and in terms of pushing Protestants in this direction, unbelievably useful. I really don't have too many complaints about Joel Webben, except sometimes he's kind of has like boomer sense of humor. I cover him a fair amount, and I mean he's pushing people in a moo critical, pro-white, but he's not completely pro-white. He's God first. Like we need a guy like that in society that's trying to unify people. He has an event coming up, I think, in Dallas, where he's already strategizing what to do after Trump's not president, which is very useful 2 to 3 years out from that from happening. So I think he does. I think he's a net positive, definitely. But I understand why you would disagree with the Calvinist. Jam, member for 2 months. I consider lying to be malicious deception. Surprise parties involve intentionally deceiving people to surprise them. I don't see that as a sin. Right. Malicious deception.
See?
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point.
Agile Walrus, 10 joules for a gold coin. I bet you did. Master Shake, 100 joules for a sundae. Am I supposed to like slurp it up and eat it like that? Yum! Am I supposed to do that thing that fucking black bitch did? Master Shake, 250 joules, laughing disco. I hope you're enjoying that. Adolf Nibbler, $5. Look into techno-puritanism. Based Camp. Base Camp is those two people, right? Cameron and someone else, a man and a woman, Base Camp. It's a purpose-built Abrahamic denomination for you. Atheists that want to be Christian. Oh, interesting. Let me know. Yes, I know who I'm talking about there. Yeah, okay. I think I'm subscribed to them. Very cool. NPC, $5. I lied. I did not donate $500. Well, you didn't really lie if you admitted to it. Okay. Zong Sheen.
Wait, did you repent for the lie? Right. You need to go to church, right? And tell the
no,
priest
you can just admit that you lied immediately after. It washes away completely. It cancels out.
Be like, Father, I promised to donate $100 to the stream, but I was like, you are forgiven, my son.
What is the capitalist argument to not put capital above nation? The Industrial Revolution led to the weakening of the monarchy and empowerment of the bourgeoisie. Capitalism is inherently liberal. Capitalism is just a mode of exchange. Capitalism has no morality behind it. It's a mode of exchange.
Bullshit.
It is.
Capitalism is not the free exchange of goods. Capitalism is, as it is understood in the modern world, right, is usury and financialization. I'm serious, right? No one's like, oh my God, you shouldn't be able to like buy and sell stuff. The problem is like massive financialization, usury, and money printing. That's the fucking problem.
Capitalism is a word that means moodyism, but they can call it capitalism to blame it on white people. That's the definition of capitalism.
Mm-hmm.
Kill all bunnies, 10 joules. Happy poop. Thank you. Very much appreciated.
And we can only manifest this very superficial change. And, you know, like I said, I'm sure these people that you've spoken to, they're probably doing some very good things. But, you know, me, in my job, in my role as a nationalist, and I'm something of an agitator. I'm something, you know, when we do the demonstrations, and getting all the way back to the 4th of July.
Don't you love that? He's something of an agitator, completely polite, respects the law, no violence, no one has any weapons on him, still considered agitation. I'm telling you, whenever we do it this is why James Lindsay frustrated me so much. It's always different when we do it. Okay? Our version of agitation, much different. Okay? When we may choose to lie, okay? Much different. Is the clarification, I guess, that I'm trying to fucking make. It's different from a right-wing lens when we do things that might have the title or a tactic from the left.
These are spectacles. You know, what I'm doing is I know that I'm going to be the head of a news cycle, and I can prepare for that. A lot of people don't get that chance. I know that I'm going to create a news cycle, a spectacle that's going to agitate people. It's going to inspire them. It's going to enrage some, right? But it's going to kick up a bunch of dust in the water, right? That's the goal, because I want big change. I want lots of malleability to ideas. And when you see people who are confused or shocked or whatever, they are in a state of flux, which is great, because that's where I want them. I want people who are unsettled and ready to have new ideas. And, I do think that there is something to say about, like you said, just the total integrity. Because if everybody, and I don't want people to get doxxed, I protect members. We could talk about the tactics and how important that is for our members to have livelihoods and stations of importance that are worthwhile, because it's a big thing that we do. But, when it comes to, there's so many people in power, and there's so many people who are even close to power who have the right ideas, and one by one they can stop things. These superficial changes, they may be enough in some cases, but I don't think they'll be enough in the aggregate. But I believe, which is what I represent, a much more bold nationalist vector coming to the process of change. And in that, we were talking a bit about all the things that we do. There's no tactics, that I'm writing off besides like violence and chaos and things which are unproductive and dangerous.
This is the mindset of the organizer, okay? He thinks of what is, it's, I understand it in a sense. It's a consequentialist mentality. It's like, it starts from a place possibly of ignoring morality and then seeing what we can do with immorality. Does that make sense in terms of like an organizer's perspective?
How is it ignoring morality?
No, it may. When you're thinking of tactics, okay? You're
Sure,
brainstorming.
sure,
I guess
sure.
I'm used to this with comedy, I guess, right? Because like I'm saying things that are not moral, but they are because I'm joking, right? But my brain is thinking of something that isn't moral to be funny. So I guess a lot of times I will start from a place that isn't moral to like think of the ideas fully and see what all of the options are. And then when implementing something, I integrate it into a morality, I guess is the process that I'm describing. Because when he says a full scope of tactics, right? I'm imagining you think of like anything that's possible that you can do. And then you refine it down to what should we do and what can we do in terms of finding solutions.
Did you ever play Ghost of Tsushima?
No, my friend did.
I think about this a lot, actually, right? So Ghost of Tsushima, the first one is really, really good. Okay, it follows the story of Jin Sakai, who's like a orphan son. He's taken in by the Daimyo, okay, and then the Mongols invade. And he starts like waging like a sort of like, an insurrection, a guerrilla war against the Mongols, okay?
Yeah.
And then he finally winds the Daimyo, his adopted father, basically gets captured. And he spread terror throughout the countryside. That's why he's known as the Ghost. And he frees the Daimyo, and the Daimyo says to him, "You have dishonored your clan by using these tactics." The thing is, the Mongols know all about the samurai code, and they use it against them.
Oh, Alinsky 101. Love it.
Alinsky 101. They speak Japanese. They know the samurai code. And they just exploit it, and they rape, and they kill, and they murder everybody in their way. And I think about that a lot, because I feel like that's kind of getting to the nub of the thing that you're getting at.
Were you playing the video game to escape reality, but you fell right back into it?
It's a great game, right? Like
I've heard
honestly,
nothing but good things about it.
I can't recommend it enough. It's so good.
Believe in a full scope of change, a full scope of tactics, everything from conventional politics, community building, etc. But we need to have the unifying and agreeably radical idea of how far the country needs to be changed and reshaped.
Right.
Yeah.
So, at the risk of oversimplification, I would say one of the distinctions between us, Christian nationalists, white nationalists, my ideal America would be all Christian, mostly white. And I think you would say all white, mostly Christian. Is that a fair?
I would say that's fine.
He wouldn't even say mostly Christian. Isn't that incredible?
Mm-hmm.
It really isn't that big of a thing to him, which is incredible to me. When you like look at the history of the country, I would love for you to have a conversation with him. I don't know how much of a fucking use I would be.
He probably
historically
he probably thinks that you can have that sort of morality without Christianity. I disagree personally.
Right.
I think that's been tried, and
right.
without it you want but see, look again, right? When I say Christianity, I don't just mean
lesbian pastor.
No, look,
I'm sorry, good clarification.
Because in the West you see this all the time. People think like, oh, today I would become a Christian. I like read the Bible and now I believe. No. You got to be like with the church. You've got to there's a praxis element is my point, right? To use a communist phrasing. Okay. There's stuff you do. It's not just, oh, I woke up one day and, boom, I'm a Christian. Now I know that there's a lot of sort of left-wing Protestant like versions of this, but I think this is, people can fall into it and fall out of it very, very easily. That's why I like the fact that the Orthodox, it takes you a couple of years of Jesus to get there, right? Listen, man.
All of the streams are bleeding into. It was just last night. All of the streams are bleeding into each other.
I caught so that. Look, William's just the guy, okay? And quite frankly as well, I have been to some Orthodox churches that are quite Protestant leaning.
Sure.
It's a complicated landscape out there. And this is the thing, right? Like, I don't know. Look, man, it's a bit weird that he's fucking botting views. That just seems very deceptive to me, but I'm not his priest. Okay. Right. Like, so rather than look at the mote in William's twitching eye, I'll focus on the mote in my own.
Yeah. William's not your problem. He's my problem. Okay.
I would say I could accept that. I do believe that Christianity, and especially, there are denominations and there's experiences of Christianity which are unique to this country, unique to this people. And I do believe that is a part of our story. That is a part of our heritage. And, if you asked me if I would be happy with getting rid of that, then no, absolutely not. I do think that is part of our identity and part of our unique experience, which makes us unlike any other nation. And I wouldn't mind the country being all Christian at all, And for me, faith is, a personal matter, at least for me as an individual. But on the aggregate, I am concerned with civic virtues, and I do believe that.
To me, a faith is you can't have a country without a religion at this point. Well, without Christianity at this point for the West. That is like of the utmost importance to me at this point, because I have seen time and time again in the life that I've lived, doing things for him. Oh my God. I one-shotted him with that one. Oh my God, Ardy's converting. He finally understands the Lord.
I've got the spirit in my lungs.
Yeah. The point that I'm making is that you need cohesion. And that is, you're going to, even between denominations, there's still a level of cohesion. And for having this many people in the country, it's either the state or God. Joel Webben does a great job of deliberalifying people. Because, like, for blasphemy laws, he's like, we already have blasphemy laws. Try and say the N-word. Try and talk about the moose. And I'm like, right. So then I could say the N-word, I just can't blaspheme Christ? Fucking easy trade-off. He has a way of saying, like, the thing that you're afraid of, we're already living through it.
Yeah, you always wind up with religion.
It's either the state or that's what he said. Right? Exactly. It's either the state or God. Yeah.
I just thought of something. I want to share this idea with you on stream. Okay.
Yes,
and I'm hoping this will catch off. Right. The white version of the N-word is to call someone a racist. That's what it is.
Are you reading something?
No.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I'm just saying. Right. Like everyone's like, oh my God. Right. There's no such thing as like a N-word for white people. Yes, there is. It's calling them racist.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I sort of came up with that. I had like a shower moment, and I'm like, oh yeah, I want to start getting that out there. So,
no, but this is why I keep saying that for some reason in Australia, in Canada, in the UK, we're having the same issue that I have in the United States. The exact same issue.
Oh yeah.
And I like asking this question. I asked this in PF Young's comment section where, so in what white Western country do people take anti-white racism more seriously than anti-black racism? Why is the majority constantly treated as second-class citizens in these countries? Why is it not taken seriously? And nobody hasn't. It's you want to ask a question where they can't possibly have a fucking answer for it, right? So that's
no. The answer is basically woman coded. Oh my God, these people, they've like suffered so much, so therefore they deserve preferential treatment. Nothing bad has ever like happened to white people. Do they even have a culture? Like, no, there's tons of retarded answers. they could give, right? None of them are true, but that.
Well,
that
no, I'm
doesn't matter.
sorry. Let me clarify. Not to a left audience, to more of a, because like a James Lindsay fan wouldn't want to sound like the left. So in PF Young's audience, they're trying to be like dark centrists, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's where they're not the left, they're not the right.
What does that mean? What, you sit in
Something
the center of the bench and turn the light out?
He validates the extreme left and the extreme right. He thinks that there's some good ideas on both fucking sides. Okay, he's trying to have a hot take.
So, look, no, absolutely. We'll just do a bit of communism, okay, right? A bit of Maori, bit of the trans, okay, right? Like, you know, a bit of drug legalization. You know, look, I'm sure that part won't seep out and devour everything else. Right. When has that ever happened?
I actually should clarify. Thank you for doing this. So I'm trying to convince people that want to leave the left but don't know where to go, right? So that's why I asked that question. It's to a person that knows that they don't want to be on the left, but that, you know, they're not going to be a crazy, scary right winger, and so that's why I don't say far right. I say far right. I say right wing, because right wing is just normal.
I think it's not the best.
Extreme.
I think the best tactic is just being racist and being really nice. Like, no, I am serious, right? Like, I have met some like amazing racists, right? They're like such warm people. They're like awesome, you know, and you've automatically got like a common touchstone, you know, like,
right.
You know, in the sense that you're all white and, you know, Anglo and Christian as well. See, this to get back to the point of the stream.
Yeah.
That's sort of like a double thing you can bond with, right? Like if I meet someone who's white and racist and Christian, then I know a lot about them. And generally those things are good. You know, and no, well, look, I haven't met many people who are like actually seriously like TND. Okay, right? People joke about it, but most of, well, I think all actually, they just want to be fucking left alone. Right. And have like a country without the depredation of like migrants and like low IQ retards. I haven't met anyone who would I haven't met anyone who called Clarence Thomas a ninja and said like, oh my God, we gotta get that goddamn Clarence Thomas.
You're daring the chat to do it as we speak.
Yeah, so, sure, like whatever. But you get what I'm saying, right? Like,
yeah, right. But so what year would you say when you would see publicly somebody was called a Nazi and you would go, oh, I should check that person out? At a certain point, naturally, all of us go, "Oh, that guy is saying no words. Oh, I should check him out." For me, it was probably I was late to the game. For me, dude, I thought fucking Douglas Murray was a white supremacist in 2017. I think. I'm not kidding, dude. It's my shit's fucking cringe in the last decade, dude. Okay, so I started going, someone's a Nazi. I should probably listen to them. Probably maybe 2022. Probably.
It was COVID that did it for me.
Yeah.
Quite frankly, right? Like COVID undermined my faith in government to such a degree that I was just automatically suspect of anything else the government said. And then they started leaning into the diversity thing like so freaking hard. Like just obscenely. Like they weren't even trying to be like subtle about it anymore. They're just like, hey, you know, the problem with the English countryside, too many fucking white people, right? You know, the problem with the English countryside, too many white people with their dogs. And like, it became
there was no ceiling on how crazy it was getting.
Yeah. So it became so obvious that this was I mean, particularly the fact that it happened at the same time as COVID, and it used exactly the same like messaging strategies and the same kind of like social pressure and all this kind of like crap. And then I was just like, oh, actually, you know, I do like white people, actually, like a lot. You know, I know where I stand with them. I miss the fact that there used to be a lot more of them around. I don't know. I guess I just went from there. You know, fuck.
And then I would hear someone's called a Nazi, and I go, oh, I'm gonna check them out. I started just immediately following them online. Is how it went.
Christianity has a great amount to offer in that respect. But at the same time, you know, and you're talking about, you know, you've spoken to some pagans, and it is a more modern thing. You know, I've talked to them in the organization because, you know, I go around the organization to members of various faiths, and sometimes I ask very blunt questions because it's my job to represent you. It's my job to make sure I'm making decisions and statements with you in mind. And, you know, I ask some pagans and I say, okay, so realistically, if your church or denomination or what have you was a bit more realistic on matters of race and distinction, do you think you would be where you are today? And that's not to say that they don't genuinely believe what they believe now. Many of them do, but usually the answer for many people is no.
Right. For many,
it's
it's a
key
reaction.
failure. Yes, it's the key failure of a lot of these Christian institutions to become so globalized. And I believe you can totally recognize the almost hostility of some modern Christian institutions while separating that from the core theology.
From historic Christianity.
Because I want to make a charitable judgment there, but at the same time, I heard a story about, some charity that would sooner shut down their efforts, a Christian charity that would sooner shut down their efforts than deliver them to the Boer refugees from South Africa.
Wow.
It's like, that is so insane. That cannot be the result of anything other than
No,
hatred.
you're right. I remember that. I remember that story. It's like, hey, you help refugees. There's 59 white refugees for the first time ever.
Yeah.
And all you have to do is help them, and then you can keep helping the millions and millions of brown refugees. Nope, can't do it. Shut down. Like Christian. And it's like, and that's not even like, we're Christian and we're not willing to have, recognize, nationhood as being blood and soil or whatever. That's
helping people.
We actually just hate white people. We hate them.
And I'm sure I'm sure you're still happy to say that yes, you blame the people who walk away from the church for these things, but at least to me, I understand, and I understand in a lot of ways. And I've even heard stories of men who have been, I don't believe for smaller churches it's not excommunicated, but essentially ousted.
This pretty much happened to Shameless Spurg, who is no longer with us. He's still alive, just not on the internet. Shameless Spurg tried going to church. I think I covered it on stream, which is like, if you search Shameless Spurg on Rumble, my stream on him comes up. He got completely blasted off the internet, and he would talk about trying to go to church, and he's like, it's not race focused. Like, there's just some goofy fucking black guy dancing up there. I can't fucking take it seriously. So there are also whites that go to, in general, can we just call it Christianity Inc? Like corporate Christianity, and they're like, this is not representing me. It's not representing white people. Fuck Christianity. Let me go fucking talk to the pagans. So that pipeline definitely exists for a reason, right?
If I may,
yeah,
I have some notes.
Cool.
Okie dokie. So this is what's going on.
I got you.
Right. This is what Thomas is talking about. This is the Episcopal Church says it won't help resettle white South Africans granted refugee status in the US. This is from May 12, 2025. I remember this, actually.
Oh, cool.
The Episcopal Church's migration service is refusing a directive from the federal government to help resettle white South Africans. In light of our church's steadfast commitment to racial justice and reconciliation and our historic ties with the Anglican Church of Southern Africa, we are not able to take this step. Okay, let's see. Who's a high-ranking member of this church?
He's using the tone. He's using the tone of voice. No.
They have a woman priest. Indeed, a woman. Well, I don't know if the Episcopals have bishops, but she seems to be like pretty important. She was talking at Trump's inauguration. So again, right? Hate to do it. Not Christianity, right? By any stretch of the, I'm sorry, right? There are no fucking women priests. It isn't done. Like, you don't have women priests.
I think you're thinking of like Moodyism with female rabbis that are also atheists. Okay,
listen to this. There are gay, lesbian, and transgender children in Democratic, Republican, independent families, some of whom fear for their lives. Right? This was at Trump's inauguration. Don't tell me this is fucking Christianity, right? Like, I just
yeah. But then they would say that it got infiltrated, and it's like, well, it's like the largest institution in the West. It's larger than government.
Sorry, it did get infiltrated though, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it took a long time. It's one of the things about religion, and it's also one of the big problems with fucking legalism and with sola scriptura. You can just change the meaning of words over time. Look at what happened in Schofield Bible. Okay,
right.
So Israel was understood to be the church and its people. And then slowly, softly catchy monkey, suddenly Israel is the Muish state. So you also all of that stuff that says you are supposed to protect Christ's church suddenly becomes directed to the post 1984 Muish state. Gee, I wonder. Why would they do that? I guess it's a mystery. So I don't know what to tell you, man.
Well, so but this is why it's important to like comment on conversations that people have because you expect, like, Joe Webben did a good job making the concession, right? He's like, yeah, sometimes it happens in like whatever Christianity. He doesn't know that off the top of his head, right? But you adding that clarification right now goes along with what you said the entire stream. Like it is unfair to call that Christianity.
No, but also I want to make a point. I do not blame people like Thomas for thinking that about Christianity.
Right. You've
Okay?
never blamed me for the shit.
No.
Yeah.
Because that's what I used to think about Christianity.
Right.
Right. When I was growing up in sort of like the peak of materialist atheism, those silly Christians, right? Because again, I was exposed to this idea of Christianity that was not really about actually doing anything. It was like this mental exercise that you do. You know, you wake up one day and you're like, I'm a Christian now. Never went to church. No one ever took me to church. It was like, and then so I get it. And I think the way to get through to people like Rousseau is to be good people.
Yes.
Right. And make an example. And then look, maybe, I don't know, man, maybe he'll never believe. I think some, like, imagine you tried to evangelize Thomas Rousseau, right?
Well,
like, I don't know, you're a Jehovah's Witness and you go up to him and you're like, Thomas, have you received the word of Jesus in your heart?
Well,
I will baptize you in this bathtub immediately. Dude, he's not gonna fucking.
This is why I want to turn you guys into Jesus salesmen, okay? And the best candidates for Jesus salesmen, the Orthodox Christians, okay? You have to overcome the objection. So you can't just sell out of the gate. If you got to ask some questions first. You got to know what the person's objections are, what they want, what their intent is. And so at this stage, if he brings that up, you're like, oh, well, you just think Christianity in general. Like he doesn't really think about organized religion in any capacity, if that's what he's saying. His conception of God is like, there's probably something out there. He is very materially focused. Materially focused.
The whole West has been highly materialist focused for a long time.
Yeah.
And the moves have not helped. In fact, I think they have very, very much.
How dare you?
Pushed that along because I think just general animus, and I think maybe it makes like people better consumers or something. There's something very, very atomizing about modern Christianity. Sorry, I'm rambling. Go on with the thing.
Yeah, not a problem.
That's a little bit Jewish.
No, they're no longer welcome in the churches that they may have grown up around. And, I think as we reclaim our institutions, I do think, the churches and these other institutions are a part of it. And, we are going to be going through the process of conquest and reclamation in many areas at once. So, just to answer your question, I want my country to be American. Right. Mm-hmm. And I do understand that Christianity is a part of America.
Pretty big part.
A very big part. But at the same time, do I understand that it's not absolutely everything, and there are elements of our culture, and I do think, I don't want a theocracy. I do believe.
See, I do. We'll talk about that, but go ahead.
We can.
Yeah.
How do you interpret theocracy? Right off the rip, knee-jerk reaction. How do you interpret theocracy?
Well, what do you mean?
Okay.
Like, no,
he'll clarify. I'm just curious as to what your perspective is.
I mean, okay. If you had like a Pope King or something, like, or see when people say theocracy, they, from the left point of view, from the atomized point of view, it basically means like any sort of coercive religious power. So if you had, like, if your government was based on religious principles and your prime minister had like a priest, for example, they would probably think of that as a theocracy, even though, I don't know. I mean,
he clarifies. He makes differentiation between an ecclesiocracy, and a theocracy in just a couple minutes.
I do believe that the government should not have an official religion. We talked about this, and I'm fine with state churches, I suppose. I don't know how close we are to that reality.
I don't think it's practical, but constitutionally, it actually would be permissible.
Yeah, I don't know if I would oppose it legislatively, but I do believe that there is something to be said about it. Once you cross a certain threshold, and do you think heresy should be illegal?
I do. So real quick, I'll make it short.
Please.
Theocracy versus ecclesiocracy. I do not want a church-run state. I don't want any church, be it Protestant, Catholic, Eastern Orthodox. I really don't.
Because it's too worldly and it diminishes them?
Well, just because I do actually believe in the separation of church and state in terms of spheres of power. And theologically, from a historic Christian perspective, this would be the doctrine of two kingdoms. And so it goes back to natural versus eternal and spiritual, and that there is the common kingdom, and then there's the kingdom of grace. Like in the church, I'm trying not to be, as a pastor on Sunday, I'm trying not to be overtly, or over the top political. It's word and sacrament. It's heavenly, right? When we gather as a congregation on the Lord's Day for worship, it's worship, and it's heavenly, it's eternal, it's the spiritual. Monday through Saturday, though, it's political, it's cultural, it's natural, it's temporal. But here's the thing: in both instances, Joel Webbin Monday through Saturday, and Joel Webbin as a minister behind the pulpit on Sunday is, in both instances, I'm still a Christian. So it's not like I'm a Christian on Sunday and then I'm not a Christian. No, I'm a Christian political and cultural commentator 6 days a week, and then I'm a Christian pastor 1 day a week. So when I say I'm for theocracy, the way that I would articulate that simply is I would say, I want a separation of church and state. I do not want a separation of Christ and state. So when I think theocracy, theos, God, I actually do want a God above the state, because I don't believe it's whether but which. If there's not a God above the state, then the state becomes God. And I think we've seen a lot of that. I don't like that. Or if the state itself does not become God, then it's going to be some other deity. And then it's simply a matter, is it going to be the Jewish God, the Islamic God, the Hindu God, or the Christian God? So the reason why I say I'm pro-theocracy is because I don't believe it's a matter of whether, but which. I think it's inevitable that there's going to be some kind of religious ethos that the government can't help but embody. And so it's either going to be statism, but with very clear religious tenets. It's the religion of statism that is very agnostic or atheist. It's not neutrality. Religious neutrality is a myth. And so I believe that you're going to have a theocracy, either statism, the state is God, or it's going to be Islamic theocracy or Hindu theocracy, or what we've had, Jewish theocracy, or it's going to be a Christian.
It's not whether is which is incredibly fucking compelling to me.
Yeah. Well, he's not wrong. I mean, who's the god now? Freaking Moloch, probably. I mean, right? Like Mammon, like, where is the... Oh my God, I can't believe we're about to do World War III. Like...
No, it's just going to be this forever. So many people go, give me World War III. Please, just rip the Band-Aid off. We'll deal with what happens after.
Oh yeah, blood for the blood god. Like, that's totally Christian.
Would you rather this forever or World War III?
What do you think? Like this conversation forever?
No, your 2025, let's say.
Oh, jeez.
Actually, that was a good that was a good year for you. Let's do 2024.
One leads inexorably to the other, though.
Right.
Like the whole point of 2024 is to get to 2026. The whole World War
2030. That's the real goal.
Oh, mate. First we get the war. Then we get the famine, or maybe we get the famine and then the war. Mate,
see how excited he sounds.
Oh, excited, man. It'll be great. I'll lose a bit of weight, get my miles in running from the soldiers. Oh, it'll be awesome. I'll learn so many new skills, how to dig a foxhole, how to hide from death squads. Awesome.
But not ecclesiocracy. So I don't want the Episcopal Church.
Not an ecclesiocracy.
At a national level, being the state national religion. So does that distinction?
No, and I
make sense?
understand what you're saying, and I certainly don't believe that the state is a supernatural or almighty. I don't think it should fill the role of the almighty in any context. Whatever your religious beliefs are, anybody who it's lording over the state it's made of people, right? It's made of people and
it's
rule.
Man.
Absolutely. I do think there is something to be said about I do think the concept of a civic religion, something which is not Christian but instead born out of the state. I do think that in any literal concept would be impractical and probably not a good idea. I do think religious neutrality. Now, you say religious neutrality.
Wait,
I do my best to be religious.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm pretty sure when Rousseau is talking about the religion of the state, what he is thinking of is the French Revolution, right?
Okay.
Where the state tried to impose an artificial, newly thought up religion upon the people. And originally they wanted to do away with religion altogether, but a few years later they realized it was impossible. So some bright spark was like, hey, what if we invent a religion? They called it the cult of the supreme being.
Yeah.
If I recall. And it was bloody awful. So, I mean, I don't, again, you'd have to dilute this down to basic principles. like the kind of thing that you could put in a fucking constitution, but like actually, Russo is thinking about Aldous. Precisely. He's thinking of his namesake. You'd have to distill this down to like some kind of principles and stick him in a fucking constitution, and then defend that constitution with arms. And you're like, what else? What else are you going to do?
You really can't reinvent the wheel.
Yeah.
Neutral within
Well,
the
I can
scope.
tell you're doing your best.
I am.
And
yes.
I would say, so I'm presuppositionalist in a lot of my thinking.
Okay.
Presuppositionalist is what? Christ epistemology?
I've got no idea what that is.
Presuppositionalist, really?
Yeah, man.
I assumed I assumed that would be a thing that you knew about. I hear it all the time, and I hear it in the context because like there's a presupposition, but I think a presuppositionalist, I hear it in terms of like a okay.
Hang on.
Yeah, so it's gay, lesbian, trans.
Presuppositional apologetics, shortened to presuppositionalism. Try saying that 5 times fast. Is an epistemological school of Christian apologetics that examines the presuppositions at the basis of various worldviews and invites comparison and contrast between the results of these presuppositions. Without presuppositions, one could not make any sense of any human experience, and that there can be no set of neutral assumptions from which a Christian can reason with a non-Christian. Interesting. They claim that Christians cannot consistently declare their belief in the necessary existence of God, of the God of the Bible, and simultaneously argue on the basis of a different set of assumptions that God may not exist and biblical revelation may not be true. What the fuck? I don't even know. Like what is it? Is this basically saying like don't talk to atheists? I don't know.
I hear presuppositionalists and presup all the time in debates, and I thought it was like more of a, there's a presupposition. I thought it was like literary, right? I didn't know that there was like a, that's why it just sounds like God epistemology. You think everything comes from God.
Can someone help me out with this? Is it just like basically sort of acknowledging that you have presuppositions about the existence of God, and then when someone like comes and like argues, you just be like, well, bugger off. Isn't that like the basic thing for a Christian? I don't know.
Christos is saying it's the opposite, that they will engage with somebody in a conversation.
Okay. I mean, how's that
Yeah,
going?
this is why. So, Ardy, it's like when Jay says God is the foundation for logic. Right. That's why I say God epistemology, where everything, God presupposes everything, I suppose, is like that's where everything comes from God. That is the starting point of their epistemology of what they are discussing ultimately in these more deeper metaphysical conversations.
Okay. No. See, this is the important part. The conclusion of evidential apologetics is that the Bible's historical accounts and other truth claims are probably more true than false. Thus, the whole of scriptural revelation may be rationally accepted. See, there's your mistake.
Okay.
There's your mistake right there. Fucking, you're too rational, you Western. No, look, I'm serious. Just try and understand the concept of the Trinity, Ardy. Right? Like,
you want to try that on me right now? See if I can understand it.
Because I don't understand it. It's an awesome mystery. Like you got see, this is why the Orthodox.
Yeah, but that's what makes me an atheist, is because I'm okay not knowing things.
Orthodox, they just do an end run around all this shit. That like someone's like, oh, explain the Trinity logically. You'd be like, who says it has to be logical? Who says it has to make sense? And then they're like, but it's like, who the fuck are you to know the mind?
Try and get
God?
you on the back foot, yeah.
No, you'd be like, oh, you know the mind of God. Fucking, can I get some lotto numbers? Right? Are the Mets gonna win? Or I mean, to me anyway, it's just fucking retarded. But sorry, a bit of a tangent there.
Yeah. Well, this is the kind of conversation for that.
I would just say that I think you're actually doing pretty well. But I think what you're doing is holding that beach ball under the surface of the water. Like
they presuppose that logic would not exist if God did not exist.
Okay. Well, I mean, technically, nothing would not exist if God didn't exist.
I love hearing the Fist's fucking raw reaction on stream to presuppositionalism, trying to understand what it. I had assumed that you would know what that was. That's so funny.
I'm not really into apologetics.
It's more of a right. I think it's more of a debate term
Yeah.
It's-
That's my point. I
Okay,
I don't see the point. Oh, how many angels can dance on the head of a pin? Bitch, I don't know. It's not my guess.
My favorite is Andrew Wilson saying, when he's making fun of people for saying this, can God microwave a taco so hot he can't eat it? That's when I was like, okay, these questions are silly.
Yeah.
That it's unnatural. That the religious neutrality that you are behaving under, and to your credit, somewhat well, is still it has to be manufactured. That it's not natural. That you have to work at that, because I think every person created in the image of God actually does have by default religious beliefs about the world, its existence, its origin.
Well, religion
that
is
guide
universal,
us.
yes. And it's just a matter that I see that if you take one step in certain directions, and I believe Patriot Front is a very tenable position, right? Because we can talk about the state, we can talk about the theories of the state, but I do govern men presently, right? I have to make rules that
Men must be governed.
They do. They're not all angels, unfortunately. And I believe we have a very tenable position that we limit the scope of religious acceptance to our culture, to our racial collective.
Right. I think I was reading as I was researching historic European religions.
I may have used that phrase. I'm sure
when I read it,
it applies.
It does. And when I read it, though, I chuckled to myself, because I immediately was like, I know what he means there.
Yeah.
He means Christianity and a little bit of Thor.
Well, yes. And I do think that, the position we're in is tenable, and I believe if you made it any smaller, you could have a bit of a runaway effect, because I do see the various Christian denominations that...
And also, in terms of like pagans, whatever you have had to believe in to survive the last fucking decade to get you here, all right, I completely fucking like validate, right?
Yeah.
Whatever belief system has gotten you here and you fucking stayed in reality, you stayed on the planet. You didn't fucking hop off the ride, okay? You stayed on the ride. Whatever you've had to believe in to bring you here, okay? Fucking fantastic. It can only be so bad if it kept you fucking hanging on and,
I mean,
gave you enough to keep going.
That's some serious survivorship bias right there. Right, no, it's true. Like, that's a really good point. You're like, shit, you didn't go insane over the last 10 years, right? You must be
we
doing
did.
something, right?
We all did, and it was what to do after you go insane, essentially, right?
I guess.
Because you go insane once you realize these things that are happening.
Well, you got to ground yourself in something real. Like
for me, it's lolcows. For me, it's making fun of other people.
Lolcows are real?
Because I know what they did. I'm like, look, honestly, I'm not kidding. It's my reality rock. Look at what really happened. I can prove it. Because I went through so many years of I can prove something, but no one gives a fuck, right?
Yeah,
so I have an enhanced sensitivity to proving something and other people seeing it, right?
That was literally most of my life.
Right?
Oh my God. I used to hang around like such fucking idiots. And they tell me I was an idiot. And after a while, I realized they just didn't understand a fucking word I said. Like,
you were the idiot for trying to convince idiots.
Yeah. And then I was like, I finally started hanging out with more intelligent people. And I was like, I was just hanging out with fucking idiots. Damn.
Have arguments against one another. And I do worry that in our specific case, if we made it any smaller, if we kicked out, one of the groups and okay, well, now you're not allowed to be.
I hear you. You're worried about a
just
religious...
go all the way down to only Episcopalians.
For sure. You're worried about a religious war distracting us and even defeating us.
Because the most important thing to the pro-white is the white race, which is needed, which is necessary, right? And I feel like that works for organizers and boots on the ground, getting men working, building with Return to the Land, networking, and then also with Patriot Front, very focused on like labor and actually like having a stake in what you're doing. Very necessary. Also very necessary, Christianity. Like umbrella for the entire... We can get more people to believe in God before we can get people to join these groups, right? And so it's a multifaceted... There's no reason for these two to be having a brother war over anything, is the point that I'm making.
Yeah, look, what we need are more Agatha TikTok.
Christianity has a larger reach, is what I'm saying.
And then some young up-and-coming politician will be like, I always love those Agatha TikToks. You know what we're going to do? We're going to build Agatha, just like in that TikTok I remember from a child. There's going to be like a big-ass boulevard up the center, and it'll be like, obelisks and towering like things, and all the other white people will be like, hey, that's a freaking great idea. You know, like we love to build shit.
Dude,
But
Master
that's
Shake,
like,
there's no way. He said, hold on, are they censoring the word moos in super chats now?
No
That's
way,
fucking
really?
crazy. There's no way.
To where a under the surface racial war one shots all of our people. I get it. Like, so for me, I have that mentality with Catholics.
Okay.
So like, I want to have vicious,
Here we go.
heated arguments with Catholics, and I see that as a luxury for winning.
Okay.
You have to win first,
Right.
And then you can have your intramural
then you can
debates
yell at the
all day long. Like,
Catholics, yes.
like
I actually have been hesitant to talk about why I'm an atheist publicly, just in case people found it compelling and it steered them away from God.
Yeah, well, I mean, I guess I think everyone's probably heard him before. There are no.
I don't know,
really
man. I
new
got a way about
arguments.
me.
I suppose that's true.
You know what I'm saying? It's something. The lights go out and I start talking sometimes, and I come back. People go, "That was a good idea," and I go, "What was a good idea?" I fucking zone out, and I cook a little too hard sometimes. But no, a more responsible way for me to talk about reasons why I don't believe in God would be with you here, right? In this conversation, in this context, rather than me just spouting off. Yeah. So, but I also take that with my atheism, where I don't care to debate this right now because of materially what's happening in front of us. And it seems like we had some tension about 6 months ago, and it seems like a lot of that tension is being mended right now. I think a lot of people on the right wing and positions of influence are realizing that we cannot fucking fight with each other. But who should you fight, right? And it's like, well, the James Lindsays, well, if the people still seem kind of iffy on Nick Fuentes, right? But at the same time, it's like when it comes down to being pro-white, in order for you to call yourself pro-white, you would need some support of some fucking pro-whites.
I think we have bigger problems than Nick Fuentes, man.
Well, he seems to be commanding a lot. I don't know, though. He's commanding a lot of attention.
I mean,
Hey, he's trying to gatekeep a movement. He's literally
Fuentes
getting in the way of people physically joining Patriot Front and Return to the Land. I think that's a material problem.
Is Fuentes really the enemy? I mean, I don't know. Like,
well, no,
but
not
look,
the enemy.
the point I was trying to make is that adversity is beginning to sort of compress the whites into an ethnic group in a way that they haven't had to be for like quite a while. And I think this is a good development because since multiculturalism is now a thing until, I don't know, it is reversed, whites have to also be an ethnicity. You cannot play a game where everybody else is being an ethnic group and you are you have like out-group preference. You're gonna get destroyed. You've gotta, it just like whether you like it or not, man. That's the fucking game. That's the game. Don't hate the player, hate the game. You know what I'm saying?
Those are the rules. Arden Party, $5. Western morality is Christian morality as its foundations. Good West men, whatever their religion, act on it. Find him on X and on Rumble at Arden Party. Thank you, my dude. Adolf Nibbler, 350 joules. Fingerheart. Oh, I think I know who that is. I think I know who that is on X. Mike, second name, who is a pagan. I forget what kind. 350 joules. Fingerheart. You guys are fingering me right in the heart hole. Slosher, $10. When we were kids in the 90s, we always looked for the parent advisory explicit content labels to know what was worth checking out. Racist serves the same purpose.
Yeah, he's not
that
wrong.
Really is a good analogy, dude. It's salient.
Yeah.
Master Shake, $5. Thank you. James Lindsay and Ardy are both atheists, just like Zegros drew it up. Just like who? I don't know what that's supposed to be.
Idea.
Someone drew it up. Nate Higgers, $2. Moo. Boom.
Yeah,
got him.
There's been some discussion in the chat as whether Moo is being banned by YouTube.
Nate always taking chances out there.
Different spelling, guys.
Jam, $5. Thank you. Guess I've got to test it. So on the parentheses and their lies, it wouldn't let me do moo in place of parentheses. So it seems contextual. No fucking way, dude. It seems to be context dependent. No way, dude. That's because of us. That's the change that's the little teeny tiny dent that I make in the world. Okay.
Be the change you want to see in the world.
It's fucking crazy, dude. Andrew Corrigan, $10, thank you. Will convert to Orthodoxy up till the point that Ardy finally converts, then I'll backslide. Now Ardy has a moral argument for not doing it. He'll save my soul at the cost of his. He's cool like that. I really do enjoy Andrew Corrigan's lies about me and rationalizations. He's a good rationalizer. Arakian Green Moon, 50 Nalkmite. Can you restart the stream? I do not like the outcome of this game. Let's play a new one. You have to play this game. You can't turn it off. You can turn it off, but you can't respawn. So you're stuck in this game, and I hear there's not a patch coming for a long time. The devs have been very negligent in the game, let's say.
The intramural debates are the luxury of times of peace. One of the reasons why throughout Christendom you had so many theological distinctions and sharp.
Okay, we can scoot along a little bit just to give you a nice little platter of what this conversation was like. And right about here.
How virtuous they are.
So true.
And I think, when we're going back to the frontier in American history, and a lot of the people who just spend too much time online, they spend too much time talking about theory, is they haven't really tested themselves. They don't really know the type of person you are. And I don't think you can really know the type of person you are, anybody, unless you fight for something, unless you truly believe in something, unless you come in contact with the world. Because I believe,
I think this is the part of Patriot Front and Return to the Land that they can't explain, you have to experience, is the actual engagement and getting involved. And feeling like you have a stake in something by, physically contributing.
That's one of the things that occurred to me when I was talking about Glub with Oron on today's show. You should go check it out. As decadence sets in, less and less people get exposed to violence or hard times, and this is generally seen as like a good thing. But it also allows people to sort of not really know who they are.
Yes.
Because like extreme shit, right? Like not only tells you about yourself, but also the people around you. And it's weird when you meet people who've they've never been through the shit at all. And they don't really know what people are like. It's one of the reasons why I think a lot of them, they support mass migration. They've never seen life at the edge. They don't know what people will fucking do. For food, like they've never seen like interpersonal violence up close, and I don't know, like, what to do about that. I'm not saying we should like get high school kids and throw them in the crocodile pen or something, but
I know exactly what to do. I know exactly what to do, and it's orthos for the fucking win, fellas. Okay, you need to induce struggle and stress onto yourself. Now that's counterproductive, isn't it? The fucking best way you can do this is through fasting. So step one, if you actually want to join Patriot Front or Return to the Land, you might not be able to do it with who you are now, right? The best way to do that is to de-goy-slop yourself. That's step one. You have to de-goy-slop yourself. How do you do that? You have to, I swear, dude, if there's anything I can contribute, it would be fucking having some sort of fasting group or something. I can customize a fast for absolutely anybody, for any fucking situation, very accommodating. If you haven't fasted, it is the best way to induce struggle and gratitude on yourself. You have to struggle more. But how do you do that? Why would you make yourself struggle? Fucking fasting. Animals, beasts, can't control when they fucker eat, okay? You're a human being, damn it. And if you can control when you eat, you can control a lot in your life. It breaks habits, addictions. Self-induced struggle from fasting will get you in a step in the very right direction in terms of like what you can do and how you can improve yourself. I cannot sing high enough praises about it, and I can't believe the orthos do fucking multiple fasts a year, dude. I'm telling you, it's fucking unbelievable.
You ever read June? No, you haven't, because you don't read it.
There you go. Now you're learning. No, and I didn't see the movie. I'm a fucking heathen. A Luddite.
So let me explain this. There's a crucial scene in June, right? One of the
sorry, I'm very quickly. So the Catholics. Very sorry to exclude the Catholics. Yes. I'm sorry. You're right.
Okay, so you got young Paul Atreides. He's like a noble in a noble house, and one of the Bene Gesserit, which is the female space moons, basically, comes to administer to him a test because the Bene Gesserit have been trying to manipulate the bloodlines of these two great houses together to produce their messiah, basically. Okay.
Yeah.
She holds out a box. She gets him to put his hand into the box and then holds at his neck a thing called the gom jabbar, which is like a poison needle. And the box induces like pain. So he feels like his hand is like burning. And the whole point of the test is just what you were saying, right? She's like a beast, an animal would pull its hand out of the box because it is unable to control itself. And if you do that, you die. So I always like that scene.
Mm-hmm. I think we got something else coming in. Hold on. Slosha, $10, mate. I agree with you guys about adversity. I think, someone said this recently. Adversity is our greatest strength. I like that instead of diversity.
That's awesome.
I think it reveals who someone is as much as it makes them who they are. Yes, and you have to stress test your relationships, and that's what this assistant doing. COVID made me see some people for who they really are, and I didn't like it exactly. And then the point that he's making with stress testing things, you're doing physical labor. So we have this with employees, right? You foster relationships with your employees because you're physically doing some sort of work. And so I feel like, consciously or not, it's mimicking that you are going through something together. But instead of just doing it for a boss, you're doing it for each other. And so like that's the part that you can't understand until you actually experience it with these groups.
Hardship, with virtue, makes men who they are. You look back at some of the greatest men in our history, whether that's European history, the history of Christendom, the history of America, which are all very similar.
That's true.
Is the men that are the greatest, I find, are shaped the most by hardship. When you talk about, the Pilgrims especially, right? Over half of them died within the first winter. All these very, very...
Theodore Roosevelt, a man's man, but he was...
I'm telling you, fellas, I've done a 48-hour fast, okay? It changes you. It changes your brain. It's extremely healthy to fucking do. And then even spiritually, just for my brain, you no longer have distractions. All you're thinking about is food. There's no longer all this. It gets rid of your cloudy brain. I'm remembering now deep fasts that I've been in and how much they've helped me.
Sickly and weak for most of his life. Yes.
And
he had to fight.
Absolutely. And I think nowadays we need to press harder through these material comforts that we have, because our country is, perhaps in a worse position than it's ever been. But
because we're decadent.
Yes, but you can look around and say, oh well, there's so many convenience stores. There's 17 new flavors of Reese's cups. How can we be a collapsed country? But you need to push past these things. You need to work harder. In the past, this hardship was imposed upon you,
right?
Because you'd get tuberculosis, or your wagon would break down,
That's
or
right.
a bear would attack you. But now I feel like it's harder to find the frontier because it's within us, because it's in those sort of spaces in between where you need to fight through the common culture, fight through the sort of status quo to find.
You cannot control so many things in society. Don't focus on what you can't control. Focus on what you can control, and you can control when you eat.
Find the frontier, which
right.
is
Wait.
That's good. Yep.
What he's saying is pretty deep. I like that.
Yep.
Right. That the frontier is within. That's pretty deep. I like it.
And
that's good.
And
I like that.
It has religious undertones, right? Like a journey within. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like the frontier is within us.
Yes.
Absolutely. Like, from the Christian perspective, it's it's the mortification of sin. It's the doctrine of sanctification, that day by day I might be saved, justified, but day by day I have to fight against the flesh and seek to be, through this lifelong process of being sanctified, further and further conformed to the image of Christ. And I'm quite literally internally waging war against my demons, against my my proclivities that go against God's law and my true ambitions that are holding it. And so there's the internal frontier. And if there is any external material frontier, this is why I know this sounds so random, but this is one of the reasons I actually do appreciate Elon and the fascination of space, because I really do think there's something in mankind made in the image of God that is set on exploration and expansion and curiosity. And like, I know it's cliche, but space, the final frontier, And so I actually think it's not enough in and of itself, but as one component among many, actually can have a unifying effect, I think, for our people, that like there's something else to conquer.
Well, you look back at and I do think Americans always need something to conquer.
Yeah.
And you look back at, the Apollo program, and I'm not sure if you're familiar, but while they, these amazing, monuments to achieve.
Fist, this is going to get really controversial right now, okay?
Why can't they conquer Canada?
What?
Sorry, God. Why can't they conquer Canada and the UK, right? I guess like the 53rd state. Sorry, go on.
First of all, who said it? Cyber Chud. He said 48 hours. That's not very fast. Is one of the silliest old man jokes I've ever heard in my entire life.
Cyberchud's a good lad. Hey man, how you doing?
Do you think that we went to the moon, Fist? Two questions. We're gonna wind it down here. Do you think it's a flat Earth? Do you think we went to the moon?
I don't believe in flat Earth. I think the most likely thing that happened with the moon landing is that they sent an automated capsule and they filmed all the propaganda, and that really the whole impetus behind the space program was actually the development of ICBMs. So I look at it from a military industrial complex propaganda shaping society sort of a view. Okay. If they had, imagine it had all fucked up, right? Kennedy's like, oh, wait, right? And I don't know, the rocket blew up on the platform, or all the astronauts suffocated to death. There's no way America would wear that as a propaganda loss. So I think they filmed.
I mean, just the technology from 1969 to now, and that we haven't been back, is very compelling to me. That like, well, that's kind of insane.
Yeah, but what I'm saying,
never been easier than ever before to go now.
What I'm saying is that you can quite easily split the difference. That all the stuff, all the film is fake, and it was faked for propaganda purposes. But maybe they actually managed to get like an automated craft there. I don't know. I don't believe in the commonly associated narrative.
Okay.
Achievement and innovation of the Saturn V rocket, I believe, was at the landing pad. You had these protesters all around, like the civil rights protesters that were saying, oh, well, they're sending Whitey to the moon, but I don't have enough food stamps. And
civil rights one shot at NASA. Like that was it. Like
no, and I think that's so symbolic, because you look at a country, we were literally reaching the stars, and I believe the moon landings happened. And
me too.
Oh, fuck these guys! Forget everything they said. They believe in the fucking moon landing. Wow, credibility out the window. I was gonna say no more brother wars until I heard that. No, let's not listen to these guys at all. I disagree with them on one thing.
You notice though that it's not taken as a given anymore, right? Like you notice it's something you can choose to believe or not believe. This is a massive shift.
It is to even say that.
I believe. Like it speaks to the undermining in government trust, like so much.
Okay, so we're winding down. Is this live? I think it is live, isn't it? Is live? So I'm just thinking of where to send people. And Cam Higbee is debating right now, but I can't send him people because it's not set up. So I'm just going to post, and I'm going to pin it in the chat. And then we're just going to comb through chat a little bit as we wind down. See if there's anything popping off in here. Wow, we are really good at just diffusing tension, huh? No one can even spurg that hard.
I mean, we do have good mods as well, right? Like, Arden would like shut that shit down quick. So,
apparently Arden has memes. Hold on.
Yeah, he does. He's got a couple of memes in the Telegram chat.
Do you have access to those? Are you on that?
I believe I do. Hang on a second.
Terrific, mate. We got Andrew Corrigan, $2. Benny Gay Surrett. Thank you for that.
He means the Ben and Gesserit. Yeah, he means they're gay.
Got him, dude. If you go to Cam Higbee, let him know Rhetorically Defective sent you. We're going to do a manual raid. Chat, rescuing a hard party from the Great White Gulag, 2026 colorized.
And
it's funny. What was I watching? I was watching a leftist. I think it was Kyle Kalinske was talking about sending someone to the gulag, and it's like, that's like a left-wing thing, right, Kyle? Like, yeah. He was talking about like how he's like, how quickly they would send me and Hassan to the gulag, and it's like, you mean the left? He's trying to use it like a right-wing way. It's like, no, the gulag is the left, you fucking idiot. Of course they would.
Yeah.
Not everyone that saith unto me, Lord, Lord, shall enter the kingdom of heaven, but he doeth the will of my Father which is in heaven. Yeah, if that's what you're calling Christianity, like how, oh my God, it's just harder on the fucking bottom left. If that's the Christianity you're talking about, I mean, come on. Right? Come on.
All
Why
right.
don't you relax a little bit, huh? Oh my God. Can we talk about miscegenation? No. No, you can't.
Yes, you totally can.
No, you can. No, don't. No. No. It's Cam Higbee. He does fucking on the ground journalism. For the love of God, just be regular and say rhetorically defective sent us, okay? It's Islam is evil and incompatible with America. He's debating people live, okay? Just please be normal. This is what it's like to have children. We're gonna go. I'm gonna bring you out in public right now. Can you please just be? He's dead. I'm mom and he's dead. I already it's already pinned to the fucking chat. I can't do anything. I can't fucking do anything now. All right, fellas. I think we got a lot accomplished. I think this conversation will be very good in posterity. I think it'll be good to reflect back upon, and I think it's a good building block for conversations in the future. Fist, thank you for hanging out and talking about religion and race and being honest and not knowing. Well, that's the thing. That's why I'm saying that this is like the fog of war. It's trying to like force people into a side. I also am more incremental and gradual, right? It's like, well, hold on now. It's all happening very fast, okay? Me and you were making fun of James Lindsay 9 months ago, okay? Happening very quickly. We need some time to fucking breathe and figure shit out. So I'm glad that I have a business partner such as Fist to assist me in that journey. Fist, do you have anything you would like to plug?
Well, yeah, check out my channel. Clown-Based Lifeforms is on Thursday. So what, day after tomorrow. I'm doing an interview with the PR guy from Afroforum, Conscious Caracal. I think that's Wednesday. It'll be out this weekend. Yeah, and just, and be good to yourselves, guys. Like, I pray for you all, and, I hope you're like, having a good time, or, like at least a not horrible time. Let's put it that way. May all of your like shifts be like easy and all that kind of stuff.
And we're going to be doing Ardy and Fist tomorrow at 6 p.m. And with that, fellas, please behave. Listen to your mother when you go into his chat. Have a good night, fellas. Thank you.